20-year-old Michael Schaefer is suing ex-roommate, 22-year-old Jacob Tyler, for damage to his property. Michael claims Jacob removed items from the apartment and left them outside.
All right, so I have some preliminary questions. Let's listen up very carefully, and let's start with the ground rules, which are everybody tells me the truth, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Good. You two were roommates for
Yes.
a period of time. Which one was the neat one?
I was.
And who was the slob?
He was.
I wouldn't say I was a slob. I wasn't as anal retentive as Jacob.
He had roommates that
This is your complaint. Mr. Tyler moved out before the end of the lease.
Yes.
Mutual?
were. Yes.
Yes.
The lease was to expire on May 31st of this year.
Yes, ma'am.
On May 31st, you came back.
To verify.
I like to tell the story
Okay,
myself.
I'm
I
sorry.
could do this as a one-man show, except that I need sometimes some input from you.
Okay.
You came back to ensure that he moved out on time because you were still responsible on the lease,
Yes.
and they had your security deposit,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
And when you came back, you found Mr. Schaefer not being a slob, a little disorganized. All of his stuff is still there. The place is a pigsty, and you start to clean it up.
Yes.
He leaves. Where did you go on May 31st, by the way, when you left?
It was about 10 o'clock at night. I went home to go to sleep.
You went home where?
To my parents' house. I moved back in with my parents.
When did you move back in with your parents, Mr. Schaefer?
I had been moving things into their house over the course of
When was the last time you slept in this apartment?
the morning of May the 31st.
Now, you have to be very careful because I'm going to put you in between a rock and a hard place, sir. When you went back to your parents' house to sleep at 10 p.m. on May 31st, you were aware of the fact that the next day you were supposed to be totally out of the apartment, or midnight that night,
Yes,
correct?
correct.
But you went home at 10 o'clock,
Yes.
and you still had a lot of stuff there.
Some things, yes.
Well, that's why you're here, Mr. Schaefer, because it is your claim that you had a lot of stuff there that he took out and set outside, and it was either ruined by the rain or stolen. So it's a lot of stuff. Let's see how much stuff you say was there. $713 worth of stuff.
About
Now,
400 of which was the TV.
Why didn't you take that stuff and have it out when you were supposed to?
I hadn't realized how much stuff I had accumulated. I didn't realize how long
You
it would
mean
take.
it just came up and bit you on the behind? And if you did, why didn't you, instead of going home at 10 o'clock at night, Mr. Schaefer, stay up until midnight and get all the stuff out of there?
I was very tired.
That's too bad.
I figured we could settle up with the apartment. We could pay for an extra day just to get the rest of my stuff
You
out.
weren't going to pay for anything because the security deposit was his.
We would have settled afterward.
I don't believe you. And after you got your stuff out, stop playing with your papers, Mr. Anal Retentive.
Sorry.
Who was supposed to clean it after you got your junk out?
I had been cleaning that day, and Jacob actually came by the apartment to clean and to patch holes that he had punched in the walls because he had quite an anger problem.
Just a second. So you had been cleaning that day?
Cleaning and
Is that
moving
what you're
it.
telling me? You had been cleaning that day?
Yes, I vacuumed the carpets. I was moving my stuff out, just going through the whole process.
Mr. Schaefer, you're full of baloney. Your stuff wasn't out of there. As far as I'm concerned, the landlord could have taken your stuff and thrown it in a dumpster at midnight. He's not responsible for your stuff after midnight.
I cleared it with the apartment manager the following morning.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Where is the manager? I want to interview the manager.
We don't have that manager
Well,
here.
that's too bad because that's hearsay. When a lease is up, it's up.
Before I left the apartment, Jacob was patching the holes up, and I had said, you know, I'm going home. I'll be back in the morning for the rest of my things. Don't touch anything. He said, okay, fine, and we left it at that.
Is that what happened, Mr. Tyler?
Yeah.
What happened?
I told him that it was unacceptable because when I got there, the fridge still had food in it. There was no cleaning done in the kitchen. The vacuum that was there wasn't even being used on the carpet. I cleaned a bathroom that they never cleaned since we moved in there. It was beyond filthy. I came back to actually patch up the holes in the wall.
What were the holes in the wall from, sir?
From me and parties that they had been at, and I got upset because there was all these kids that were underage drinking, and I have pictures to prove that they were.
Do you have any proof of what this place looked like when you got there?
I have a witness, but she's in the Air Force boot camp right now, and I can't.
Can't help you there with that.
I know.
I have no
I'm sorry.
control over the Air Force.
Yes, ma'am, I know.
I like to think I would like to, but I don't. Mr. Tyler,
Yes, ma'am.
you had $440 in security deposit.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you get any back?
I had 140, and I have a copy showing the amount which was taken out.
Can I see that, please?
And also at the top, ma'am, this is the part where I had the power turned off, and Mr. Schaefer was supposed to get it turned on in his name. He didn't.
We
so
never
the
talked
apartment
about that
took
at all.
care of it. The apartment charged me for the water, the trash, the electric that he accumulated.
So you lost your security deposit.
Yes, ma'am. And
Okay.
the added rent was for...
Now, did you patch up the walls?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Because there's nothing here about patched walls.
I have this also that says that there's multiple or new contact, lots of resident damage into.
Well, it doesn't say here anything about charging you for holes in the wall.
No, that wasn't.
Which means that
but they
you
were
patched
charging
them. I'm speaking. Listen to what I'm saying to you. It's not here to hurt you. I said there is nothing that indicates from the apartment complex that they are charging you for holes in the wall. That would be a good thing. Then
Yes,
you say, you are right. You are correct, Judge.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Where did you put whatever stuff of his was left outside?
I moved it underneath the stairwell of the upstairs apartment, and I covered it with blankets. I wrapped his VCR in bubble wrap. Unfortunately, he said that it rained the next morning in the area.
What happened when you came back the next day? So first of all, what time did you come back to the apartment the next day?
About 9 in the morning.
And what did you find when you got there?
I came there with my girlfriend. This is Nicole. We came there with her truck to get the rest of my stuff, and we came up to the apartment.
Just a second. Step up. Your last name is?
Sierra.
Miss Sierra, when did Mr. Schaefer pick you up?
I came to pick him up with my truck at a little bit before 9 a.m. on June the 1st to go retrieve the rest of our stuff.
Had you been there? What do you mean the rest of your stuff? Had you been living there too?
No, I just...
Some of her stuff was in there. I'm sorry.
Don't speak.
My couch cushions and my vacuum was there.
So my
and-
question is, had you been living there?
No, ma'am.
Had you been staying there?
Yeah.
Don't play with me. Had they used your truck to move the other items? Don't look, listen to me. Don't look at him. Don't you have an independent recollection of this? I asked you, had they used your truck to move out the other items?
Yes, some of the other stuff.
How many days had they used your truck?
Probably about 4 days.
Good. And where were you the night of May 31st?
I was at home,
Doing what?
resting. I work 30 hours a week, and so I was just...
Oh, my God, 30 hours a week. Oh, you must be exhausted. How old are you?
I'm 23.
23, and you work 30 hours
and I
a
go
week.
to school full-time.
Good. What school do you go to?
I just graduated from the North Lake Community College in Dallas, Texas.
Good. So you graduated from college, and I know from college. I mean, I know how many hours a day one goes to college. So 30 hours a week working, you can manage. So you were exhausted.
I wasn't exhausted.
What about you? How exhausted were you? Where do you work?
I worked at Metro Volkswagen.
And you also go to school full-time?
No, I'm not in school currently.
You work 40 hours a week?
Yes, ma'am.
So you work 40 hours a week and don't do anything else. You've got a girlfriend who works 30 hours a week and goes to school full-time, so you should have been pretty wide awake on the 31st. I don't see what you needed to go to sleep for at 10 o'clock at night. You have no case, sir. He is not obligated to risk his security deposit because you decided you needed an early nap. He secured your stuff as best as he possibly could. If it was ruined by the rain, that's your problem. You should have had it out by May 31st. You owe him $440 for security deposit because you lived like pigs, then you have to pay for that. Goodbye.
Tito.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
22-year-old Crystal Rivera is suing her ex-boyfriend, Robert Sipe, for a loan to travel to Florida. Robert says he wanted to help with the hurricane relief.
Miss Rivera, you're a student?
Yes, ma'am.
How old are you?
I just graduated.
You just graduated
Yes.
from college?
Yes.
How old are you?
22.
Mr. Sipe, what about you?
Oh, I'm a salesman.
How did you meet him?
I actually met him on my 21st birthday party.
Somebody brought him?
Yes.
And according to you, you started to date Mr. Sipe
Yes, ma'am.
and loaned him $1,250. At some point, he did pay you back $400, leaving a balance of $850. Mr. Sipe says, while he acknowledges that you gave him $1,250, he says that's exactly what it was. It was a gift, and he only gave you $400 because he wanted to help you out, right?
Correct.
Well, since we're getting rid of the issue of whether or not the money was passed from Miss Rivera's hands to yours, why don't you tell me, Mr. Sipe, when did you take this money from Miss Rivera?
A couple weeks before I was leaving for Florida.
When was that? I don't know when you were leaving for Florida, sir. It's not. It wasn't on my social calendar.
I understand that. I completely understand that. In August, early September.
What's the matter? They're too nasty for you?
No, no, no. That was delightful.
Go ahead.
Yeah, she offered me, well, she claimed that she offered me $850.
Listen to me, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Where do you live?
In Arkansas.
And what were you going to Florida for?
To clean up the hurricanes, relief.
You were going to volunteer?
No, I had a contractor. I was trying to get down there.
So you had a job there?
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Well, in the process.
And what did you need money for?
Travel expenses, hotel expenses, food expenses, etc.
Well, I thought you had a job.
At that point, no, I didn't.
Well, neither did she. She was a student.
That was a gift that she gave me. I don't know her business.
How long did you know her before you asked her for this money?
Maybe a week.
Shh, shh, shh.
She offered it to me.
What did you tell her to inspire her to offer you this money, Mr. Sipe?
I was just telling her my story that I needed to get down there, and she offered it to me. I wasn't inspiring her, nothing.
You must have been inspirational.
I don't know what it was. She offered it to me, and I said thank you.
Well, Mr. Sipe, let me suggest this to you, sir. You are almost 10 years her senior. She's a student. You're an adult. You're supposed to be employed. You take money from a student who has no money, because according to her, this was money that her parents had given her for books. She went and sold her books in order to give you this money because she had to get. I'm speaking. Listen to me. I'm speaking. When my mouth moves, yours doesn't.
Yes, ma'am.
So that would suggest to me that something is off with your moral compass. Taking money from somebody that you met for a week, knowing that she doesn't have a lot of money. I'm speaking.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm telling you, that would suggest to a stranger that you're a taker. That's a given. You're a taker. If she, in fact, offered you this money and just said, I want you to take it, it's a gift. So now I want you to tell me, what epiphany did you have at some point? What finding of religion did you have that inspired you to give her $400?
Good deed.
He's cute.
It's the truth,
He's
though,
cute.
ma'am.
He's cute.
It is the truth.
To somebody, but not to me, Mr. Sipe.
That's fine, but it is
not
the truth.
to me, sir.
It is the truth, though.
Let us say that I believe you for a moment, that she was smitten with you, because that would be the only reason she would give you money. If she wasn't romantically interested in you, she wouldn't have given you the money, right?
Well, I wanted to help the people in the hurricane.
You wanted to help the people in the hurricane?
Well,
she's also mentally challenged. I mean, I can understand helping the people in the hurricane. Send them $1,250. Don't give it to him.
right.
He didn't even end up going.
Right.
Right?
Correct.
Take your money and send it to the Red Cross.
I've actually started a nonprofit corporation to help the people from
Well,
the
that's
previous
fine.
hurricane.
He's not a nonprofit organization. Nowhere to send your money. In what month did you give her $400?
I would say in October, November.
Had she called you and asked you for the money?
No, ma'am. I just offered it to her.
A good deed.
A very good deed. Yes, it is.
We're going to have another good deed.
And then
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $850. That's all.
Parties are excused. Step out.
23-year-old Jenny Rose is suing her ex-roommate, 23-year-old Sheena Mashoud, for the return of rent, a security deposit, and defamation of character.
Order. All rise. Now, this is case number 198 on the calendar in the matter of Rose versus Mashoud. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Miss Rose, you rented a room from the defendant, and according to your complaint, you were forced to move out early.
Yes.
You want prorated rent.
Yes.
You certainly want your security deposit back. And you want compensation for what you say were very nasty things that the defendant posted about you on the internet.
That's correct.
The defendant says that you chose to move out. You don't get compensated for choosing to leave before the end of the 30 days. That your cat did some damage to the rug, so you don't get your security back. And she acknowledges she wrote nasty things about you on the internet, but she said everything she wrote about you was the truth, and the truth is a perfect defense.
That's very true.
When did you move into this room, Ms. Rose?
On May 1st. On April 22nd, I answered an ad.
Do you recall what it said?
It said that I was going to be a roommate, that it was $400 for the rent, that she had 3 cats, and 1 more would be great. And
no, just a second. That's not what the ad said.
Yes, it did. It said she had 3 cats and 1 more would be great.
Oh, that's what the ad said?
Yes.
It must be a very long ad. Where was it?
Craigslist.com.
.org.
.org. Correction. Tell me what happened when you went and looked in the house.
It was 11 o'clock at night. She said that it was dirty, but she would clean it, and that the hot water in the sink was broken, the pipe, but she would fix it before I moved in, and the toilet that I was renting out with the bathroom was broken as well, but that would be fixed as well.
How many rooms did you look at?
3 different rooms, and this is the one that I chose.
This is the one that had a broken sink, a broken toilet, and was filthy. Is the one that you chose, Miss Rose?
Actually, it was the rent. It was cheaper than normal. Others were asking for $650, so I figured I was only going to be here till the summer. It should not be an issue.
Was the toilet fixed?
No, the toilet was never fixed, and neither was the hot water, which I had to eat out because I couldn't wash dishes. There were maggots in the sink. There were roaches, flies.
Who else lived in the house?
It was supposed to be just myself and Sheena, and she brought her crackhead mother in, who has no teeth and has tattoos everywhere, who she failed to mention was an ex-convict who had been in jail for 12 years for a violent crime. Not only that, but...
Just a second. When you moved in May 1st, was her mother there?
No, her mother was not there.
When did her mother move in?
Her mother started coming by in the middle of May and started hanging out, bringing her other crackhead friends who had no teeth.
I'm a dentist's daughter. Let's not talk about the teeth. Let's talk about the drugs.
Okay.
What makes you think that she was using crack?
Because I came home the night before I moved out, and her friend were smoking crack in the living room.
That would give me a clue.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was your mother incarcerated for, Miss Mashoud?
I believe it was theft, and she violated her parole several times.
She violated her parole because of her drug use?
No, it had to do with the fact that she wasn't seeing her probation officer like she was supposed to when she was released early.
Listen, if you're released early and you want to stay out of jail, unless you're involved with drugs, you usually see a probation officer.
Well, actually, the problem was that she moved back to Colorado without asking her probation officer, and she stayed out there for 3 years.
Well, that would be a problem.
Yes, obviously, as the rule was that she was supposed to keep in contact.
How long was she incarcerated?
I'm not sure. I never lived with my mom as a child, so.
When was she released from prison?
At least 5 years ago.
How come she started to come to your house?
Because I previously, before she had ever moved in, had paid my mom to come to my house to clean my apartment because I work 18-hour days. I have 2 different jobs. I work a bar job at night, and during the day I'm a special effects makeup artist. I work very hard, and I don't have time to spend, even if it is 4 hours that I get to sleep, to spend cleaning up my apartment.
You mean there's nobody else that could clean your apartment other than your mother?
Well, I don't trust anybody else to come into my apartment because I have many things that are worth a lot of money.
So what you're telling me is you trust your mother?
Yes, I do.
The mother who she says, and I believe her,
Yes.
invited somebody into your home and they were smoking dope in your house.
Nobody else other than my mom was invited into my home.
Well, she did. Bring somebody else into your home.
I had never seen the person.
Well,
and
I'm
I
telling
don't know
you,
who
she
she's
did.
speaking of.
She did, so your judgment wasn't very good. In choosing your mother, listen to me, your judgment wasn't very good in choosing your mother to clean your house.
I believe my judgment was just fine. Aside from the fact that she had been incarcerated before, it doesn't mean that she would do anything like that again.
Well, but she brought somebody, listen to me,
mother.
she brought somebody into your house and they were smoking dope in your house.
Who is that?
I believe her.
I'm glad you believe her, but I don't know that that's true. I know that my mom has not been on drugs for many years. I know that she does have permanent psychosis because of doing drugs for many years, and that is true. But she's not a current drug user, otherwise I wouldn't bring her into my house because I wouldn't trust her around my stuff personally.
Ms. Mashoud, that's your problem. You want to have this unabiding faith in your mother with whom you say you never resided when you were growing up, who was incarcerated most of that time. That's up to you. I absolutely, 100% believe her when she says that she came home the day before she moved out and your mother was in the house smoking dope, which, as far as I'm concerned, gives her the right to leave in the middle of the month.
Well,
I'm speaking. What day of the month did you move out?
It was the 18th.
So you want prorated rent for the 12 days that you weren't there?
That's correct.
Okay, and how much does that come to?
$146.50.
My mother had not moved in at that point. She was a guest of mine.
Excuse me?
Shh. Listen to me. She doesn't. Listen to me very carefully, Miss Mashoud. She doesn't. Listen. Try to listen. I know you've got a lot going on in your hair, in your face, everything else, but try to pay attention. She doesn't have to live in your house. You have invited a guest into your home, your mother, who was involved in behavior that I believe could have endangered someone else who was living in the house. If the police had come to your house and found your mother and someone else in possession of crack cocaine in your house, everyone in the house would have been involved in that drug sweep. So she was very smart to move out. And since you have acknowledged that you invited your mother into the house for the purposes of cleaning, you can't say she had no right to move. She did have a right to move. And since you invited this problem into your house, you have to compensate her for the 12 days in rent that she did not have use and enjoyment of her room. Well, that's my ruling. You may not like it. That's why you go to
her boyfriend.
That's
is a
why
speed addict,
I'm speaking.
And he's in
listen,
my and he's
listen
staying
to
in
me.
my house.
Listen to me very
For
carefully.
the whole time she was there.
Listen to me very carefully, madam. I don't know where else you work or what else you do to enhance your senses, but in my courtroom, I speak. I listen.
Obviously, you don't listen very well.
No, I'm listening. You're not hearing what I'm saying because you don't like the answer.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I'm not going to ask her how she's going to establish that you committed the kinds of sex acts that she attributes to you because it's really unseemly. Suffice, I'm speaking.
And later today,
somebody standing there with an open door, primping, while I'm waiting to get into a parking space, would rile the hell out of me. I can't even tell you what it would do to my husband.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Jenny Rose says ex-roommate Sheena Mashoud owes for the return of rent and a security deposit. Jenny also claims Sheena slandered her via the internet.
How much is your security?
$200. I have a copy of the sublease as well.
Can I see it, please?
And I have a copy of the letter she told me to vacate immediately.
Okay.
She wanted me to pay for her mother's rent for the next month.
Listen. Did you write this letter? There will be a $500 rent increase for your bedroom and private bathroom starting July 1st. Did you write this?
Yes, that's what
All right, good.
Told me to do.
$146.50 and $200 for your security deposit. Do you have any pictures of the ruined rug that was allegedly caused by her cats?
No, but
Good. Now I would like to see what was written on the internet.
This is a networking site that my coworkers, my supervisors and boss, as well as my family and friends read. I was contacted by one of my coworkers.
Well, the one thing I do know for sure, Miss Mashoud, is that you have a filthy mouth.
Thank you.
And I assume that you work in this town?
Yes, I do.
Good. I certainly hope that enough people, since we do have a reasonable audience in this town, watch this and know that I personally am offended that a woman would use the kind of vulgarities that you do written. I don't think, quite frankly, Miss Rose, that any fair-minded, reasonable person would accept anything that you wrote here as true.
Oh, of course not.
Because she clearly is a demented, sick girl. I don't know how she finds work in this town, but clearly there are a lot of demented, sick people who want demented, sick employees. That's the problem here sometimes. I can't judge that. Clearly, this is miserable. I'm not going to ask her how she's going to establish to my satisfaction that you committed the kinds of sex acts that she attributes to you, because certainly you don't want that, and I wouldn't, because it's really unseemly. Suffice, I'm speaking. I'm speaking.
Am I going to speak at all this?
No, go speak outside. Somebody who wants to hear you. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $346.50. Thank you.
Toodles. I had invited my mother over to clean my house while I was on vacation, and she accused my mom of being a thief.
Those who look like trash and act like trash are usually trash.
She's been nothing but a terror to me, pretty much like a little yipping chihuahua.
I'm glad I don't have to deal with her crackhead mother and the fact that she has no teeth and thinks she's a lot, which she's not. So it's good. I'm happy.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Hardison versus Jarvis. Step forward.
Crystal Hardison is suing fellow motorist Robert Jarvis for vandalizing her Ford Explorer by kicking it. Crystal claims her mother witnessed the incident.
Ms. Hardison, what kind of car do you drive?
It's a 2005 Ford Explorer.
What about you, Mr. Jarvis?
95 Mitsubishi Galant.
What was the date of this incident?
June 2nd.
And you were going into a drugstore to get a prescription filled?
Exactly.
And what were you going to do there, Mr. Jarvis?
I was pulling in to get her my fiance a drink and a candy bar.
Was she with you?
Yes.
And you were both going to the same store, so you pulled in first.
Yes.
And it is your claim that Mr. Jarvis intentionally not only spit on your car, but also dented it.
Yes.
Mr. Jarvis says he might have spit on it, not intentionally, but he certainly didn't dent it. And your mother was with you.
Exactly. And my 11-month-old son.
Well, he's not here to testify, but your mother certainly is. When you went into the store, Miss Hardison, your mother remained in the car.
Exactly.
And when you went into the store, did your fiancée remain in the car?
Yes, ma'am.
She pulled in first.
She was already parked.
Tell me what she was doing, Mr. Jarvis.
Well, as I was pulling in, I was waiting on her for about 2 to 3 minutes while she was brushing her hair with the door open in the parking place.
So you were waiting to pull in because she had the big door open for this SUV, brushing her hair?
Yes, ma'am.
How long were you waiting?
2 to 3 minutes tops.
Did you honk the horn?
No, I was just sitting there waiting to get in, being patient.
Why were you brushing your hair?
I'm pretty vain. So before I go anywhere, I always put my makeup on, brush my hair.
You were going to pick up a prescription.
Exactly. And that's my nature. If I'm going to a local store, I'll put clothes on, do my hair, and put my makeup on.
Hadn't you done all that before you went in?
I sure did, but I just wanted to make sure everything was straight.
Didn't you see Mr. Jarvis waiting for you?
At the time that I opened my door to get my brush out my purse, no, I didn't.
But there came a time when you did see him waiting for you.
I saw a front end of a car behind mine, yes.
And you continued to finish brushing your hair and then you put the brush back?
No. Once I saw the front end of the car, I said, oh, he's waiting, and I closed my door and went directly into CVS.
What happened when you came out?
I got to my driver's side door, and I saw there was spit on the window. I opened my door. I said, Mom, somebody spit on my window. And she can tell you the rest.
Step up, please. What is your last name?
Durante.
Tell me what happened that day on the 2nd of June in the parking lot.
Okay, on the 2nd of June, my daughter had to go to the pharmacist to pick up a prescription. And she got out of the car, opened the passenger side.
That's we got past the fact that she was brushing her hair to make sure she looked perfect.
Okay.
Never know who you're going to meet in the pharmacy.
Exactly.
Yes, Your Honor. Okay, Crystal came out. She says, Mom, who spit on my car? I said, don't worry. I got his tag number. I was sitting in the car on the passenger side watching an incident on Route 1 to my right, and I see this man walk up to the car and just cover the window with spit. I said, I'm going to get his tag number. I went to get my purse. When I went down to get my purse, the whole car, Judge Judy, just like, yes. I looked up, I saw him, I heard his door, bam, slam. He was going, he closed his door and walked behind his car and got into the driver's side.
Okay, so a passenger door slam, and then he walked around to get into the driver's side?
Yes.
And the passenger side door was where your car was?
Yes.
Got it. Now, do you have any proof of damage to your car?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Because, Mr. Jarvis, I'm going to save you the trouble, sir. According to your answer, you were having sinus problems that day, so
Yes,
you
ma'am.
spit.
Yes.
You don't know where it landed.
No, I didn't have no intention of spitting on a vehicle, no.
It was just a bad sinus.
Yes, I had sinuses all
And
like that.
you caused no damage to the plaintiff's car.
Absolutely not.
Now I'd like to see the...
Okay.
See, I'm going to saved you all that trouble.
Your car's green.
My car's green.
But your boot isn't damaged.
And besides, my car door don't go that high.
It may not have been your car, sir.
And I was never on that side of the vehicle. I was driving.
Mr. Jarvis, what you're asking me to do is to say to this lady that she's lying. Now, common sense, which is really what we're about here, suggests to me that you were annoyed at this young lady.
No, actually, I wasn't.
Well...
I was being patient.
Well, listen. Then you are the only one I know who, under those circumstances, wouldn't be annoyed. I would be infuriated.
But to be cussed and belligerent...
Just a minute. I would be infuriated if I was sitting there patiently and somebody was not just putting a baby in a car, because that you wait for, you know, adjusting a car seat or whatever, but somebody standing there with an open door, primping and brushing their hair while I'm waiting to get into a parking space would rile that out of me. I can't even tell you what it would do to my husband.
Can I speak?
Sure.
Can I have her come up?
If you want to.
I'd just like to say that night when the police contacted us, the only thing that they said was that he spit on the window. When he called back to the police department, the police officer said that this was ridiculous and dropped it. 30 days later, we received it stating that there was damage. Why that night? Was there no record at the police department?
I have no idea. Maybe they couldn't see it.
And she drove all the way home and the spit stayed on the window?
Listen to me.
I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
Does she listen to me?
Free money. That's
I'm
what they're
speaking.
trying to get.
Does she look psychotic to you? No, listen to me. Not the daughter who was primping, who has to comb her hair before she goes to pick up a prescription. I'm talking about her mother.
I'm going to tell you, I'm a nurse. People are psychotic all the time and they don't like
listen to me. Well, listen. I've been around twice as long as you have. This lady is not psychotic. This lady did not take down your tags and report this matter to the police because she was having a psychotic episode. That's my judgment. Now, let me see how much it costs to fix your car.
Okay. I have two estimates.
You have a 10-year-old car.
$578 for Windex is a little ridiculous.
Oh, it has nothing to do with Windex?
There's no dent caused by him. That is definite.
That's just trying to get free money, is what it is.
I never got out that car, so nobody was ever on that side of the car at any point. I was in that passenger side of that car.
Nobody suggested that you did any damage to the car, madam. Cheaper of the estimate is $369.80. Is that right?
Yes.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $369.80. That's all.
Parties are excused when they step out.
Mitchell Ergensen is suing pizza parlor owner Steve Lindner for the cost to fix his truck. Mitchell claims it was vandalized by Steven's employees.
All rise. Now, this is case number 219 on the calendar in the matter of Ergensen versus Lindner. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Mr. Ergensen, it is your claim that Mr. Lindner's employees vandalized your house and your car. And Mr. Lindner says he wasn't there. As far as he's concerned, there is no proof that his employees did anything to your house and your car. Who do you live with, sir?
Myself and my two daughters.
How old are your daughters?
17 and 19.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm an electrical contractor.
And you have a restaurant?
Yes.
Sometime in July, according to what I read, you ordered some food from Mr. Lindner's establishment. Have you ordered from him before?
Many a times.
What did you order?
Antipasta salad and a turkey sandwich.
And did they deliver it?
Yes.
Remember what date that was?
The 22nd is the date of this, yes.
No, the
22nd
date of the first order.
Well, what happened
for a
was
sandwich and a salad.
we ordered a couple times and asked for extra Italian dressing prior to that.
Well, I understand that,
Okay.
sir. I read the complaint. I read your complaint very carefully. Sometime before this incident, you had ordered a sandwich and a salad.
Which was 2 weeks before.
That's what I want to know.
Thank you.
2 weeks before this incident. And you had ordered a sandwich and a salad with extra dressing for the salad. What kind of extra dressing did you want?
Italian dressing. A couple extra cups.
And had you ordered that before?
Yeah.
And had they always accommodated you before?
Yes.
Who was the salad and the sandwich for?
Me and my daughter. Actually, my oldest daughter.
Who was eating the salad? Who was eating the sandwich? Or were you sharing?
Share it.
And your order came, and they didn't send the extra dressing.
They didn't send any dressing.
So you called back the restaurant. And what did you say to them?
I asked them, they didn't bring me any dressing. I talked to one of their guys in there. He said, we're very sorry. We'll be out in 10 minutes. And I said, please do, because I don't want to wait another 40 minutes like I had to wait for my order. I want the salad dressing right away. No problem, sir. We'll be right out there. Waited about 40 minutes, almost an hour. Nobody showed up at my door. I called and I said, can I talk to the manager? And he says, I am the manager. I said, well, I've been waiting for my dressing now an hour. They didn't bring me any. Well, I didn't know. He said, I didn't know anything about it. We have no drivers anymore. They all went home. And I got angry with him. I said, well, I want a credit on my food then. And he said he wasn't going to give me full credit. And I said, I would like full credit for $12. I couldn't eat anything.
You couldn't eat the sandwich?
Not by that time, because we normally put the salad dressing on the sandwich, too. That's why we order extra for the salad and the sandwich. The girls like it. They like the extra vinegar and stuff. So we got mad. The manager hung up on me. I tried to call back. Nobody answered. Nobody answered. So I let it go. And about 2 weeks later, I ordered the same meal. And when the driver got there, I said, we have a credit, and I shut the door.
Very grown up of you.
Yeah.
You think that was right?
Come see, come saw.
What is come see, come saw?
Well, I had a credit.
Do you think,
I mean, the guy agreed he was going to pay me half the credit.
No. Listen to me, sir.
Okay.
You didn't have a credit. You said you wanted a credit.
No, the manager also told me he was going to give me a credit on the salad, but not the sandwich.
That's right. That's what you just told me. He
Right.
said, well, we will certainly, sir, give you a credit on the salad, because if you run the kind of house where you don't have any dressing at all in your house for 3 adults, if you can't eat the salad, we're sorry about that, but we're not going to give you a credit on the sandwich. You decided you wanted a credit on both. So when you took your food and slammed the door in the driver's face, which is what you just told me that you did, that was the wrong thing to do.
Okay.
There were a lot of other things that you could have done other than stiff the driver. Because
Well, it wasn't the driver, it was the pizza.
No, it's the driver. Because they're giving them the food, and when they come back and he says, listen, we went to somebody's house and they wouldn't give us any money, either one of 2 things happen. Either they say, well, we're taking it out of your money, or they call you. Did they call you?
No.
So you don't know whether the driver got stiffed with your $12 meal. Anyway, Mr. Ergenson, it was very immature of you. And what I'm surprised about is, evidently you are a single father raising 2 children. It would seem to me that you would have enough to occupy your plate other than engaging yourself in these petty little situations that cause nothing but problems for people. Are you telling me that your girls are so perfect that you have nothing else to worry about? Or maybe they're not so perfect that you got plenty to worry about, that you were taking it out on some stranger.
No, my girls are plenty perfect. They're very
They're
good
plenty
girls.
perfect. Well, then there's something wrong with you.
Okay.
All right. Now,
For a single father that runs a business for 20 years and raises 2 girls since they've been 2 and 4, I think I'm pretty good.
well, then I want to tell you something. If your girls are perfect and you run a nice business and you don't have enough to do with your time, I'd start volunteering a little bit more, because this business is ridiculous, petty baloney. So now what you're complaining about is that the next day...
No.
2 days later?
No.
That night?
That night, I had 4 guys come to my house and try to strong-arm me for $12 at my door and threaten to ask me to come outside so we can take care of outside.
Okay.
And I
so
shut
you
the
had...
door in their face.
So this little escapade of yours, then 4 people came back to your house
To threaten me
and
in
wanted
this
the
place.
just a second, and said they wanted the $12, and again, you slammed the door in their
No,
face.
I told them I have a credit. I said, where's the manager? The guy, this one over here, says, I am the manager. And I said, you're the manager from the place? Well, great. Do you remember this? He says, no. And the other guy that's not here today says, oh, you were the one that complained about the salad dressing. I said, so you know about it. You know what happened 2 weeks ago. He said, yes. And I said, okay, then you have a credit with me. If you have a problem, tell the owner to call me. We'll deal with it in court. If you want to sue me for 12, sue me for 12. So that's how it happened.
Volunteer.
They threatened me in my house.
Volunteer. It was a stupid thing to do. Should have written it off. You understand?
Yes.
You're dealing with somebody who's got a little too much time on his hands and a little bit too much aggression in his gut.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She was up a whole night and frightened because her father acted like a jerk. That's why she was up all night, because her father acted like a big baby.
And later today,
You're not supposed to fib anytime, especially not when you're in court, because that's a fib. If your mother doesn't know it's a fib, I know it's a fib.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Mitchell Ergenson says pizza parlor owner Stephen Lindner owes for vandalism to his truck. Mitchell claims Stephen's employees doused it with salad dressing.
First of all, Mr. Ergenson, when you order a salad with dressing and a sandwich, the sandwich doesn't come with Italian dressing. So what you're doing is saying, when I asked you, well, why couldn't you eat the sandwich? You say, we'd like to put the dressing on the sandwich. You're not entitled to that. You're not entitled to that.
But
the sandwich comes along.
Yeah.
The dressing comes with a salad. You want dressing for your sandwich, go to the store and buy a bottle of dressing so you have dressing for the sandwich.
But it's not the same dressing. Their salad dressing has their own taste and their own life. It's like when you go to different restaurants. When you go into different restaurants, do you like different salad dressings that different restaurants serve you?
Mr. Ergenson, listen
That's
to me
what
very
happened.
carefully, sir.
Okay.
Then you don't say, send me extra dressing for the sandwich that I'm not entitled to. You say, I'm prepared to pay you extra to send me extra dressing because I like dressing on my
If they
sandwich.
said it cost extra, I would have been happy to pay for it.
Did you? Just a second.
Happy to pay for it.
You were getting something for nothing. You wanted something for nothing. You're
No,
not
I did
entitled
not.
to that.
No, I did not.
Mr. Ergenson, you're a big baby.
Okay.
That doesn't
Thank
mean
you.
you're a big baby.
Thank you.
That doesn't mean your people were entitled to vandalize his house. Now, Mr. Ergenson, I will take a look at the photographs of your house.
And my car.
And your car.
And I have the cups that they used.
I don't care about the cups
All right,
that they
and I have a
used.
new cup too. It shows in the pictures. And I also have repairs that you might want to see.
Let me see the bills. Mr. Lindner, the way to respond to someone who is behaving in an immature way is not to stoop to their level. There isn't a question in my mind, after examining these photographs, that this vandalism to the plaintiff's house was done by someone in your employ or in the employ of the restaurant. No question. You get me?
Yes, ma'am.
Ah. Now, I don't know whether you went home. I don't know whether they said, listen, he deserves it. What he did was he was acting like a baby, acting like a big baby. But you don't take the law into your own hands and commit a crime.
Absolutely not.
You want to file a police report and say he stole food from me? That's your prerogative. He did. It would be no different from him coming into a restaurant, having a meal, and getting up and leaving, and saying, well, the last time I was here, I didn't have a good meal, and I wanted a credit, and they wouldn't give me a credit. So this time, I'm enjoying my meal, but I'm not paying for it. No different. What he did was he stole from you. No, and for that, oh, yes, you did, sir. There is no difference from what you did than if you walked into their restaurant or walked into a... I'm speaking. No difference than if you went into a restaurant, ate, didn't like the meal, they wouldn't give you a credit. And a week later, go back to the same restaurant, order the same meal, and get up and leave. And if the police came, they would have arrested you for theft of services, because that's what it is. They still had no right to vandalize your house. Do you understand?
Yes.
You don't resort to that sort of behavior because he acted like a jerk.
And came to my house and threatened me in my house.
No, ma'am.
And my daughter will attest to all that, too.
Listen, I don't want to get your daughter involved. It's bad enough she had to be involved. It's bad enough she had to be involved with it because of your stupidity.
She was frightened the whole night from these guys doing this.
No, listen to me.
She was.
Listen to me. She was up a whole night and frightened because her father acted like a jerk.
Okay.
That's why she was up all night, because her father acted like a big baby. Cost you $229.23. Is that right?
And lost wages in my work.
Well, that's too bad. Counted lost wages in acting like a jerk. They're not allowed to vandalize your property. Cost you $229. I hope it felt good. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Just 1 second. $229.23 less 12. $217.23. Judgment for the plaintiff. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Apparently, I didn't bring him his dressings, which I did offer to bring back, which he did not want.
I just wanted my order the way it should have. When they didn't bring me any, I was a little upset.
He yelled at me for a good 6 minutes or so in the middle of the street.
About principle.
I just think it's about respect between customer and business.
He was enraged, and he slammed the door in my face, and that was it.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of White versus York. Step forward, please.
Lisa White is suing business owner Susan York for the cost to repair her vehicle. Lisa claims Susan's son, 8-year-old Dylan, hit it with a rock.
Miss White, it is your complaint that Miss York's little boy, I assume this little boy, was throwing rocks in the street, and one of the rocks hit your car, causing some damage.
That's correct.
And you want his mother to pay for the damage. Miss York says she doesn't think her son was responsible for that. He was merely rolling rocks, although she wasn't there. She says that it was really your conduct that was outrageous on that day. So tell me when this happened.
It was approximately 7 to 7:15 in the morning on May 12th. I was on my way to work. I was traveling down East Yacht Drive.
Where is that?
It's in Oak Island, North Carolina. As I approached the intersection where the children were, they were in the street.
How many children were in the street?
Approximately 5, 2 boys and 2 or 3 girls.
I assume they were waiting for the school bus?
That's correct.
Okay.
As I approached, I noticed that they were playing in the street, so I slowed down. They moved to the shoulder of the intersection. One little boy was throwing stones into the other empty lot across the street, and as I approached, Dylan threw a rock at my car, and I heard it hit.
You saw him do that?
Yes, ma'am.
So you stopped your car, and what did you do?
I got out, and I'm like, you, come here, what's your name? And I said, look at what you've done to my car. I said, where do you live? He said, down the street. I said, you get in my car, and I'm taking you to your mother to show her what you're doing at the bus stop. Well, he had extra stones in his other hand, and he threw those down. I said, no, you pick those up, you put them in my car, and we're going now. So he got into the car, and I took him straight to his mother's house. I told him to go upstairs and take the stones with him to show whoever was there. I didn't know which parent was home. I said, take those and show them what you've been throwing at my car, and send them downstairs to talk to me. And she came down to talk with me.
And what did she say?
Well, she asked him, did he do it? And why did you do that? I told you not to throw stones. I told her.
What did he say?
He's like, well, it was an accident. I'm like, no, it was not. I saw him do it.
He said to his mother it was an accident.
That's correct.
Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Stand up next to your mother. Dylan, how could it be an accident if you were throwing the stones?
I was rolling them across the road, and she was going like 70.
Dylan, I don't want your nose to get long. I want you to tell me how it's an accident that stones that you were rolling on the ground hit somebody's car.
I rolled it, it bounced up on another
You rolled
rock.
it and it bounced up. A rock.
It hit another rock and it bounced.
That's a fib, Dylan. You're not supposed to fib anytime, especially not when you're in court, because that's a fib. If your mother doesn't know it's a fib, I know it's a fib. You and your friends were throwing rocks, right?
Yes.
And one of the rocks hit her car.
Yes.
See how easy that was?
Yes.
What your complaint is, Miss York, and one that I quite frankly find compelling, is that Miss White exercised very poor judgment in putting your son in her car.
This is correct.
Because I don't think North Carolina is any different from any other place in this country. You don't take somebody else's child and put them in your car. That's very poor judgment, Miss White. I don't think there would have been anything wrong in you saying, if you live right down the street, you go right home, I'm going to follow you, so that you would know where he lived. But you don't take anybody else's child and put them in your car. Now, can I see a picture of the damage to your car?
I do have a photo, but you cannot see the actual dents or chips in the car, in the paint.
Well, it should just be one.
No, there's actually several. I have a police report stating that the officer noted 6 chips areas.
Well, he didn't chip it 6 times. He threw one rock. That's according to you.
He had several stones in his other hand. I don't know how many stones actually hit.
I don't know how many children were involved in throwing stones, but you said to me, I saw him throw a stone. I heard it hit my car. There's a difference in hearing 1 or hearing 6.
Your Honor, may I say something?
Mm-hmm.
When she drove to my house, I saw one little dot, and then in return, it ended up being dents. I never saw a dent. She even herself said it probably won't be much.
Well, what she's suing you for is $300.
Yes, ma'am.
Which isn't much. I think what your complaint is, quite frankly, despite the fact that I read your answer, and your answer gave me the same malarkey that he was rolling stones. Children don't roll stones. They throw stones at cars. And that's what he did, because that's what he just told me he did.
Right, yes, ma'am.
So you're responsible, because if you want to make sure that your son doesn't do that, and I assume he's done it before, right?
Not that I'm aware of, no, ma'am.
Never heard of him throwing rocks before?
Not at cars.
At anything?
I mean, he's a little boy. I guess he does throw rocks, yes.
Okay, well, if he's a little boy and he throws rocks, then you should be out there with him waiting for the school bus.
Your Honor, I would like to say, when he came home from school, I had asked him what happened. And he admitted that he had been rolling rocks.
Rolling rocks doesn't...
Rolling rocks, throwing rocks, and one hit her car. And then he proceeded to show me how she forcefully put him in her car. I have a written statement for...
I don't take statements from people. She had no right to put him in the car, take him in the car, ask him to get into the car, pick him up. Absolutely no right to do that. He wasn't injured. He went off to school that day. Did you go off to school that day?
Yes.
Did you have a good day in school that day?
Yes.
So he wasn't injured, emotionally or physically. But she did the wrong thing, and I've told her she did the wrong thing. So I read her the Riot Act. You still have to pay to have a car fixed.
That's fine.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $300. That's all.
Thank you.
Susan Avitan is suing her ex-boyfriend Carlos Zuniga for an unpaid loan and a cell phone bill. Susan says Carlos lied about being married.
It's case number 153 on the calendar in the matter of Aviton versus Zuniga. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Ms. Aviton, according to your complaint, you dated the defendant for about 6 months.
Yes.
You knew at the time that he was married.
Did not know.
Well.
Well, I
mean, I read your complaint. So your complaint says that with regard to the cell phone that you claim that you got for him.
Yeah.
The reason that you got it, put your hand down. The reason you say you got him the cell phone was because he told you that his wife was checking on the number.
Right. There's a preface to it. I started working at the animal hospital that we were at probably in July.
Just a second. I'm going to finish my statement, then
Okay,
I'll get back
sorry.
to you. In any event, he was married, you were dating him, and you claimed that you made him a series of loans. In addition, you claim that he asked you to get him a cell phone, you got him a cell phone, he ran up a bill, and he owes you the bill. Mr. Zuniga says that you got him the cell phone because you were calling him 20 times a day, and you were running up his telephone bill, that anything that you did for him was voluntary.
Yes.
There was no agreement to pay you back any of the money that you gave him. And in addition, he's counterclaiming because he says that since he and you are no longer an item, that you've been acting like a nutty lady and seriously harassing him, and he can prove it.
Right.
Okay. So, when did you first start dating the defendant?
I would say probably like the last week in July, maybe.
When did you find out that he was married?
After I started dating him.
Just a second. So, how much after? A week, 2 weeks, a month?
Probably a week or two, I would say.
Okay. But you didn't break off the relationship.
Well, I didn't break off the relationship with him because, number one, he told me that he and his wife were at dire straits, that they would be separating, and he also told me that they weren't getting along.
Well, that doesn't help much. You understood he was still married,
Correct.
Still living with his wife.
Right.
Okay. Now, let's start out with the cell phone.
The cell phone bills I have here, first of all, I didn't get him the cell phone bill because I was calling him constantly. I got him the cell phone bill because when
You got him the cell phone?
Yeah, cell phone. The time he claims I was calling him constantly, he didn't want my number showing up on his cell phone bill. So he said, should we get another cell phone? I said, I'll put another one on my account for you. And I told him, I said, but you're going to have to pay. I said, there's no reason for me to go ahead and.
Is that what happened, Mr. Zuniga?
No, that's not what happened at all. I have phone bills here from my phone company that'll
For your
show
cell
you.
phone?
Right. That'll show you all the times that she did call, and they were all calls within a minute to 2 minutes apart.
But you took a cell phone from her.
Yes.
Tell me why.
Because I told her, once I got my first phone bill, I told her that there were too many phone calls, that this all had to stop. This whole relationship had to stop because of all these phone calls. She didn't agree with it. So then she offered to get me a cell phone bill. She said she was going to buy me one, and then she proceeded to take her boyfriend's cell phone and give it to me.
Why in the world, within the very short time of starting to have a relationship with her, if you saw that she was behaving in an inappropriate way by calling you that number of times in a 1 or 2 day period, why did you continue the relationship?
Because I thought that maybe she would change if, I would tell her that this was becoming a nuisance. Maybe she would change it a little bit. Maybe she would stop the phone calls.
Now, where did you tell your wife you were when you were with her?
Actually, me and my wife were separated for a while.
But not all the time, Mr. Zuniga. So when you weren't separated, where did you tell your wife you were?
I would just leave. I wouldn't tell her anything. Sometimes I would tell her I was with friends, but the majority of the time I would just walk out the house.
Oh, okay. Now, you took money from her.
The only money that I took from her was the money that she used to pay my cell phone bill, which was this one.
How much money did you take?
She made a payment of $100.
All right, so what other monies, Ms. Aviton, do you claim you gave him?
Well, I have here from August 2004, on the 17th of August and the 23rd of August, we had been together that particular evening, and we had decided to go to Hollywood to get tattoos. So I had said to him, I'm going to go ahead and get one. He says, well, can I get this and that, and I'll repay you for it. I said, fine, no problem. Well, because of the fact that we were in a relationship, I took him at his word.
Okay, so tattoos, joint tattoos. What else?
They weren't joint. Then there's a diving mask and the leather phone case and charger for the cell phone that I got him. The phone case and the diving mask were September 15th and September 24th. Then in December was the remote control battery for the car and the satellite radio. And then in November, he asked me to buy him a CD burner. Then there is, in November again, there's window tinting on his truck that I spent $100 for as well. That was supposed to be reimbursed. And then we have the...
okay, so you gave him the first money in August. Is that right?
Yeah.
Did he pay you back that money?
None of it.
You gave him money in September?
None of it.
Shh, listen to me. You gave him money in September.
Yes.
Did he pay you back? No. And you gave him money in November?
Yes.
And when you gave him money in November, he hadn't paid back the August, September, October money?
Right.
So let me explain to you what happened. You gave him a lot of money.
Yeah, I did.
Right. So you have to cross it off. You made a mistake. Put your hand down. I didn't ask you a question. I'm not pleased with you either. We understand each other, sir?
Yes, sir. I mean, yes, ma'am.
Good. Because as far as I'm concerned, if what you did was, if you were living with your wife, and for at least part of this time you were living with your wife, and you were accepting gifts from her.
Right, but if I could...
I'm speaking. Try looking at my eyes. And if you were accepting gifts from her, that doesn't make you a nice person. Doesn't make her a nice person, doesn't make you a nice person. And it makes me the victim because I got to listen to this baloney.
Right.
You made a mistake. You had no legitimate expectation that he was going to pay you back. Maybe you thought he was going to leave his wife and you were going to be together, but you had no legitimate expectation of being paid back for a tattoo in August, in December when you loaned him yet more money.
And they weren't separated at the time. They were still living together. They lived with his sister and whoever else.
And according to you, the reason that you gave him the cell phone was that you agreed that his wife shouldn't see when you called him.
Right. But if you'll notice on these bills, he's called his old, used it for everything else.
I don't care. I'm talking about your character, not his.
Okay.
I'm talking about your character.
It was a mistake.
I'm talking about your character, not a mistake.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Get over it.
He's got a kid from another woman, and he's 3. I mean, she cheats all the time.
Are you trying to justify to me the fact that you're an idiot?
And later today...
I'm sitting there for about 10 minutes or so, and he just came up out of the garage and started hitting me in the back of the head, in the face.
I don't remember.
You don't remember? Well, that's the problem when you drink too much, sir.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Susan Avitan says ex-boyfriend Carlos Zuniga owes for a loan and a cell phone bill. Carlos is countersuing for defamation of character.
All right, sir. Now that you understand that you have 0% of my sympathy, I'm going to hear your counterclaim.
Some time ago, this last time I changed my phone number, my cell phone number, when she tried to contact me after I changed it, she couldn't, so then she proceeded to call my wife and left a message on her voicemail stating that she was to tell me that if I think I'm a smart, what she was going to do was file a sexual harassment complaint with the city of Beverly Hills, and that she was going to call my boss and write her letter explaining everything that has happened.
She left that in a message?
Yes.
You have it?
I don't have the message. Unfortunately, we weren't able to record it.
Right.
But,
which I did not.
But I have the letter that she did write to my boss.
As well
and
as
everything is explained there, the defamation of character. I also have a record of several phone bills that she called every time she called me.
No.
Okay.
And if you take a look at these phone records, there are quite a bit of phone calls. They're all highlighted for you.
Why did you go to the police?
Do you really want me to go into the gory details?
Well, I want to know first, why don't you tell me when you went to the police?
I went to the police in April.
Shh. You went to the police in April, not while you were dating and intimate with him afterwards.
Yeah. But there's extenuating circumstances as well with that letter. I had a previous...
You were on medication?
No, I should have been.
No, you were on medication.
No.
She tried to get me fired.
I believe that she tried to get you fired.
Well, no, you know what? It wasn't that I tried to get him fired. I was let go from that job because when Carlos and I got involved, it was getting more difficult for me to work with him, obviously, right? And there was an incident in an x-ray room at the hospital that when the detectives brought him in, he lied flat out to them and told them that he didn't do it. And I have a friend that she couldn't be here today, that I told about it right after it happened.
You got fired from your job, so you tried to get him fired.
No, that's not why, because we were still dating at that point.
She also tried to get
Just a second. So what you're telling me is you were still dating and you were complaining that he sexually harassed you in an x-ray room?
No, this was after the fact.
Listen, get over it. Get over it.
Okay.
Stop acting like a baby. How old are you?
Old enough.
Then stop acting like a baby. You fool around with a married guy, you get burned. You lose money, you can lose your job, you lose your self-respect. Lots of bad things happen to you. Get over it.
If I could say one other thing, she also, I work at Hollywood Park at the racetrack, and she also almost got me fired from there. She would call there constantly speaking to my manager.
Oh, you're such a liar,
And then
Carlos.
after
Listen, I don't want to hear from you.
And she even had a big cookie delivered there. When she had that delivered there, right after she had it delivered, she called constantly trying to ask what my reactions were, if I had any comments.
Did you seek a restraining order
Yes, I
against
did.
her? And what happened?
The first time we appeared in
Lied.
court, the judge said that it was just a whole bunch of nonsense and it was foolish. That same day, she contacted me. She called my cell phone. Throughout that month, she called me a total of probably anywhere from 10 to 18 times. When we went back to court, there was a different judge that heard the case the second time. The judge said what she was doing wasn't considered harassment, and he dropped the case. And I have a copy of the restraining order here.
I'd like to see a copy of the restraining order.
The reason he had the restraining order issued to begin with is I had also purchased some tires and rims for him that I wanted back when we had split up that he hadn't paid for. And that's
Listen to me. You bought him a bunch of presents and you got angry.
But that has nothing to do with the tires and rims.
Yes,
Judge
it
Judy.
does.
Okay. Yes, it does. He had the restraining
But
order issued to cover it up for his wife. This was a bunch of nonsense. He's been living with her the whole time that we were together. He's lying.
Listen to me. Madam, get over it.
He's got a kid from another woman, and
Yes.
he's 3. I mean,
Listen
he cheats all the time.
Listen.
I'm not the only one.
So what? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. Are you trying to justify to me
No.
the fact that you're an idiot?
Well, yeah, that goes without saying, but...
Are you trying to... I'm telling you, get over it. Get over it. You have no case against him. You made him a whole bunch of gifts because you liked the attention, you liked the affection, you liked the intimacy, whatever it was. He dumped you. It's over.
That's fine.
It's over. So then stop this nonsense. You're the plaintiff here. Put your hand down. Mr. Zuniga, you play with fire, you're going to get burned,
Right.
sir. Don't come here asking for a court to take up time when you did the wrong thing. If
I
you
agree.
broke her heart, Mr. Zuniga, because you took advantage of her, you allowed her to buy you gifts, you allowed her to buy you rims for your car, you allowed her to buy you a CD burner, you allowed her to pay for a tattoo, you allowed her to indulge you. And all the time you knew that this was just a temporary thing. You were still living at home. You were lying to your wife. Remember what I told you 5 minutes ago?
Right.
Zero sympathy for you, sir. Courts don't help people like you.
I agree. I mean...
Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He came after me. He's a liar. He's got a child from another woman that's 3 years old. He's been married for 5 years. He's been cheating on his wife since they've been married.
He worked with me. She knows my wife worked there. All the gifts that she gave me, I've asked her to take them all back, and she never did.
He would cry to me that his wife was mean to him, and I mean, he's a liar.
He's just one of those types of person that wants to buy people's feelings.
Believe me, I wouldn't do this again for $1 million.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Clapp Miller versus Walker. Step forward, please.
17-year-old Lisa Clapp and her mother, Laura Miller, are suing 22-year-old Tim Walker for medical bills. Lisa says during a St. Patrick's Day party, Tim attacked her, breaking her nose.
Lisa, how long have you known Mr. Walker?
I really don't. He was a friend of my boyfriend's friend, and so like I only saw him a few times.
Did you ever have any bad words with him?
No, never.
Do you know Mr. Walker how long you know Miss Clapp?
Yeah, probably about over like a 2-month period. We met each other a couple times.
You have mutual friends. Is that right?
Yeah. Our mutual friend, like, what do you mean?
What word didn't you understand? Mutual or friend?
Mutual.
You have friends in common.
Yeah, we do.
How old are you?
22.
What do you do?
Brick mason.
You drink?
No, not anymore. I slowed down.
But you did.
Yeah, I did.
Miss Clapp says that you were at a party. Was it on St. Patrick's Day?
Yes, ma'am.
She was at a party, and she says that you were really drunk. Are you Irish?
Mm-mm.
What are you?
Polish and Indian.
But you celebrate St. Patrick's Day by drinking.
Well, I've always celebrated St. Patrick's Day.
Good.
But...
And she says that while you were drinking and pretty drunk, you broke her nose. You assaulted her and broke her nose. And Mr. Walker says that drunk or sober, because he acknowledges that he was pretty drunk that day, right, Mr. Walker? He said drunk or sober, he would never hit a woman. He doesn't know why you would, in the world, you would accuse him of that. So why don't you tell me what happened?
Well, we got to the party, my ex-boyfriend and I, and we went in and everyone was drunk. Tim was the drunkest person there. There was like 2 guys there I didn't know, a girl I'd met maybe twice.
I'm not interested in who was at the roster of the party. Just tell me about Mr. Walker, please.
Well, one of the guys that I didn't know, Mr. Walker decided that he wanted to fight him. He threw a couple swings at the guy ducked and said, you know, you're messed up, man, just go to sleep, I'm gonna leave. And the guy left. He was in the driveway. He had kind of just walked off after that, and everyone else had gone into the garage. And he was still in the driveway, and it was pretty dark, and so nobody really knew where he was. And we were all sitting in the garage, and like I'm sitting there for about 10 minutes or so, and he just came up out of the garage and started hitting me in the back of the head and the face.
You have a police report?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it.
They would not give me the photographs.
Were you arrested?
Never.
You questioned?
Yes, I was.
Did you say you wanted to pursue these charges?
Yes, I did.
I'm amazed that he wasn't arrested. Why wasn't he arrested?
I don't know.
I don't understand why I would do something like this, because I've watched my mom, when I was younger, get beat by boyfriends. I was raised to respect women. I don't understand. I mean...
Drunk. She is not psychotic. When somebody is assaulted, unless they're psychotic, they want the person who assaulted them either to be punished and or to pay for their injuries. They don't pick somebody that didn't assault them.
No, I just no, I didn't do it.
Yeah, you did. You know how you did it? You did it because you'd had too much to drink and you were acting like an idiot.
I don't remember.
You don't remember? Well, that's
it,
the problem when you drink too much, sir. You don't remember. How did you get to the party that night?
I actually lived with the guy that was throwing the party.
Do you remember waking up the next morning?
Yes, I do.
Do you remember going to sleep that night?
No, I don't.
Do you remember where you slept that night?
Yes, I do.
Where?
At a buddy's house.
How far away?
Like across the street, another neighborhood.
Some distance away from your regular home.
Yes, ma'am.
How did you get there?
Another buddy drove me.
Why?
Because I don't know, apparently I walked off or something, I don't know.
You have hospital bills, please?
Yes, ma'am.
That's what I was told, so.
That's what?
I said that's what I was told.
What do you mean that's what you were told?
When I woke up next morning, my friends told me that this is what I did, and I didn't remember it, so...
You didn't remember getting to your friend's house?
No, I did not.
That's what happens when you drink too much. And you hurt her. You broke her nose. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000, that's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
17-year-old Tiffany Borlov and her mother, Cindy, are suing 17-year-old Alex Kinsel and his mother, Allison Janikowski, for damage to their car. Tiffany says Alex jumped through the sunroof and assaulted her boyfriend.
Yeah, this is case number 178 on the calendar. The matter of Boroloff versus Janikowski Kinsel. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Are you Miss Janikowski?
Yes, ma'am.
And this is your son?
Yes.
Whose name is?
Alex Kinsel.
Alex?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Good. Did you give him a good poke?
Yes, I did.
Perfect. I saw that. It was subtle, but he got it. I'm impressed. Alex.
Yes, ma'am.
I do want you to understand that this is going to be an unpleasant morning for you.
Okay.
Your mother is aware of that, but I'm sure that lately you've had a couple of unpleasant moments with your mother, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You weren't there?
No, ma'am.
And you weren't there?
No, ma'am.
So why don't you have a seat? You're just the question really of liability, and in your case, a question of ownership of the car that was allegedly damaged by Alex.
Yes, ma'am.
When he decided to assault your boyfriend.
Yes, ma'am.
This young man,
yes.
I assume?
Yes.
The only problem was your boyfriend was sitting in your car.
Yes.
And your car had a sunroof.
Yes.
So Alex, in order to get to
Tyler,
climbed up on the...
I jumped into the sunroof. I didn't climb.
Jumped from the pavement
Yes.
into the sunroof.
Yes, ma'am.
Sort of like Spider-Man. Faster than a speeding bullet, right? Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound.
You're kind of mixing out heroes, but that's it.
That's one of them.
Yeah, Superman. Yeah.
Spider-Man. So you were able to do that, right?
Yes, ma'am. When you're mad and the adrenaline's rushing, sometimes you do things you don't expect you can do.
So now you want him to pay for the damage that he allegedly caused to your car, right? Alex says through his mother that he's very sorry for assaulting Tyler, which he freely admitted in juvenile court, and he was placed on probation.
Yes.
So he's paying for that crime, and he's sorry he did that, but he didn't damage the car.
No, ma'am.
Because, like Superman, he was able to bound from the sidewalk through the sunroof to get to Tyler without ever touching the car, right? So now, Alex, what?
I'm sorry.
What?
I'm just picturing it.
I want you to, I tried to draw a word picture to you to get you interested in what's going on.
I'm very interested.
Good. So, why don't you tell me why you decided to assault Tyler?
Almost a year ago, my friend Kevin was killed, Kevin Farrell. And it was due to the fact that Tyler had robbed someone and placed the blame on Kevin.
A year before this happened?
Yes, ma'am.
Who killed your friend?
Lee.
Was he ever apprehended for this murder?
He was apprehended and he got criminal confinement and is still in courts right now, I believe.
Or was he convicted?
Of criminal confinement.
Of criminal confinement? What is criminal confinement? I never heard of that.
When they hold them against their will in a car with weapons.
You know these people? Do you know these people?
Unfortunately, yes.
What are they, all these gang people?
No.
Just criminals?
Yes.
Oh, you're terrific. Okay, so according to you, he's responsible for your friend's murder.
Yeah, if it wasn't for him, my friend would still be alive right here now.
Okay, so that's why you were angry with him?
Yes.
Is that why you assaulted him?
That's one of the reasons. They also provoked me.
How did they provoke you?
By flicking me off, saying stuff, parking right next to my car the day it happened.
You mean the day that this assault happened?
Yes.
So they parked next to your car. She parked next to your car?
Yes, and she told me that Tyler had hit her that day, and that angered me as well. And he's supposed to be out of school 10 minutes earlier than all the other students, so he's actually trespassing.
Step up here. Why is he supposed to be out 10 minutes earlier?
Because there's so many people after him for the reason what he did.
You have a special schedule at school, Tyler?
Yes, ma'am. For safety precautions, I leave 10 minutes early at the end of the day, and I come 10 minutes late every morning.
And he did not do that. So if he
So
would
for all of those reasons, you decided that you were going to assault him?
Yes.
Ma'am, a couple of weeks earlier, he had spit in my face at school also before all this had happened and
Did you
got in
do that?
trouble.
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
It's his fault my friend's dead.
No.
Okay, so if you assaulted him a week or two before, why are you complaining about being flipped off?
It just angers me.
Are you seeing a psychiatrist?
No.
Do you think you should?
No, ma'am.
You should. He should be seeing a psychiatrist regularly. You understand that? You don't believe that? Step up with him, please. He should be in therapy. Intensive
I don't believe
therapy.
so, because once a person's been harassed off and on, a human being can only take so much.
Listen to
and he
me.
was at his breaking
Listen to me.
point.
Did you know that he spit in his face 2 weeks before?
No, I did not.
You see, somebody who's being harassed is usually frightened. So they stay away from the people who are harassing them or threatening them. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do, but when they go to the same high school...
He is the aggressor. When he assaults him, he becomes the aggressor.
I understand.
And that has nothing to do with harassment. He told me that he spit at him 2 weeks before because he believes he's responsible for his friend's murder. Do you understand?
Yes, I do, but Tyler had also off and on since the incident has been harassing Alex.
Listen to me. I'm giving you a friendly word of advice from someone who has been in the juvenile justice system now for almost 30 years.
I know that.
If you don't get him involved in therapy, you're going to be visiting him every other Sunday, and you're going to have to go through a metal detector to do it. I want you to trust me on this. And if you don't, when you look back at your portfolio of photographs of this time in his life, 20 years from now, you're going to say, you know, wouldn't have hurt if I had him talk to somebody and get out all this anger.
Yes, ma'am.
Because his anger has to do with some event that happened a year ago that he hasn't been able to get over.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Sometimes life isn't fair, my dear. Sometimes the justice system is not as fair as you would like it to be if you're a criminal.
And later today,
What do you mean you're not officially living there? You're not a moron, are you? You wouldn't pay rent in an apartment where you weren't living, would you?
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 17-year-old Tiffany Borlov says fellow schoolmate, 17-year-old Alex Kinsel, damaged her car when he jumped through the sunroof. Tiffany says Alex was attempting to assault her boyfriend.
Can I see pictures of the car, please? I see a lot of damage to this car, Alex.
Yes.
Damage to this car that would suggest to me that you were not able to leap over and get onto the sunroof as you indicated you did.
Your Honor, I did not damage the car. I have a witness that was right there and saw the whole thing.
I'm prepared to hear the witness. You may have a seat. Step up.
And she had also...
Shh. Tell me your name.
Vicki Nofel.
Miss Nofel, this happened at the school. What were you doing at the school?
I was picking up my daughter after school. My car was parked in front of the car that it involved in the
incident. Tell me exactly what you saw.
He didn't actually climb on the car. He held onto where the door is and was in the sunroof. There was no hitting, kicking of the vehicle, and there had been damage to the car before.
How do you know that, my dear?
Well, my daughter goes to that school also.
Yes.
And Tiffany had stated to her that she had hit a deer, and it had damaged the side of her car.
These are footprints. Deer don't have feet. And I cannot imagine, madam.
I understand.
I cannot imagine the kind of assault that he pled guilty to occurred without his feet touching the car if he's in the sunroof. Could you imagine that? It just doesn't make sense. It defies credulity that he can assault somebody with his fists while poised on top of a car, unless this is a toy car. Is it a toy car?
No, no.
Without his feet hitting the car. You understand that?
I understand.
Good. Now you can sit down.
Excuse me, Judge Judy.
Yes.
We do have a police report, and there's no mention of any damages in the police report.
I'd like to see the police report. This only has to do with the damage to this young man.
Well, I assume that it should have been in there.
No, it does refer to another number that you didn't get. Can I see an estimate, please, on the car? What year car is this?
A 97.
97 what?
Toyota Avalon.
Did you have it fixed?
We don't have the money to fix it.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
Yes.
In court on March 26, 2005, with the juvenile hearing for the attack, Mrs. Borloff was asked if she had any estimates for the damages, and she had said no, she did not, that she just had the car fixed, and she wanted to be reimbursed.
Really?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now you can step up. Nope.
And she said she had it fixed by Peterson's Garage in Michigan City.
Is that right?
No.
I mean, that's easy for me to call.
She's lying, Judge.
No,
She
I
did
brought
state
that
that.
estimate with me.
She did not have that estimate that day in court.
Are you telling me now that you did not have the car fixed?
No, ma'am.
Then why would she state that she did?
You have a copy of those minutes?
I asked for them at our court.
Do you have a copy of the
No,
minutes?
ma'am, I don't.
Oh, okay.
They said they were not available, otherwise I would have had them.
Okay. Whether she had the car fixed or she has the estimate, your son's got to pay for the damage. Stop making excuses for him.
I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to state the facts.
First, you tell me that your son caused no damage, because that's what he told you.
Yes,
and you
ma'am.
brought a witness to tell me that Superman didn't cause any damage when he assaulted Tyler. Then you tell me that he shouldn't be responsible because she already had the car fixed, and all she wanted to do was be reimbursed. I'm telling you that you better start thinking about accepting total
I
responsibility
understand that.
for his bad behavior.
But he told
should
me
not.
there was no damages, so.
Well,
Your Honor,
what?
there were tons of people around the car. How I'm not on the side of the car or nothing, you know. I jump into the sunroof. I'm
Too
not
bad.
kicking the
Listen
car.
to me, Alex.
Yes.
Sometimes life isn't fair, my dear, and sometimes stand up on your own 2 feet and take your hands off the table. Sometimes the justice system is not as fair as you would like it to be if you're a criminal.
17-year-old Tiffany Borlov says fellow schoolmate, 17-year-old Alex Kinsel, damaged her car when he jumped through the sunroof. Tiffany says Alex was attempting to assault her boyfriend.
When you're a criminal and you commit certain acts of vandalism and you say, well, I did that, but I didn't do that. Of course, they're going to say, listen, I don't have time to figure this out. You jumped up on her car. Common sense suggests that when you jump up on a car and you assault somebody to the extent that you plead guilty to an assault, so it's a serious assault, and according to you, my adrenaline was flowing so that you're able to do things. That's what you told me. So I was able to do things. You never know what your strength is. I don't have to say to myself, well, maybe a deer caused one of these dents, and maybe you caused one of these dents. It's your fault. You're responsible. I can't find the deer. You're it. You got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,700. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
That person in there, fault that my friend died.
His friend was my best friend.
So I think he deserved everything he got.
He's like my brother.
I do not believe that he needs therapy.
I don't know. I don't think I'll never rest over it.
Maybe a little bit of counseling to help deal with his anger.
Seeing his picture in the obituaries.
I don't really know what to say to it. I'm just glad it's over.
I hope Alex does get the help he needs.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Weber versus Gonzalez Evans. Step forward.
25-year-old Kendra Weber is suing her former roommates, 22-year-old Andrea Gonzalez and her boyfriend, Kyle Evans, for the return of her security deposit and renter's insurance.
Miss Gonzalez, how long were you and Miss Weber friends before you decided to room together?
About 3 years.
When did you sign this lease, Miss Weber?
On November 8th, 2004.
And how many people signed the lease?
Just us two, Andrea and I.
And what was your agreement?
We were to split all of the bills and rent 50-50 two ways.
And this must be Kyle.
That's correct.
Who is Kyle?
Kyle is my boyfriend.
Kyle didn't sign the lease.
No, he did not.
You moved out.
Yes, that's correct.
It is your claim that you moved out because things were made totally untenable with the apartment, and you wanted to move in with your boyfriend.
This is correct.
And you want some of your security deposit back and some renter's insurance.
That's correct.
Several $100s. And Miss Gonzalez and Mr. Evans say that you're not entitled to it. You moved out and you knew that you were going to forfeit any monies that you put into the apartment. Did you move in November of 2004?
Yes.
When did you move out?
April 30th.
And you had paid your rent up until that time?
Yes, I had.
And for my own information, when did Kyle move in?
It was just about a week or two after we moved in, so still in November of 2004.
And what was the rent on the apartment?
$12.75 for the first 6 months, and after that, $13.75.
And how much were you paying?
The first month I paid half, and then after he moved in, we split it three ways, $4.25 apiece.
And how much security deposit did you put in, Kyle?
I didn't put any in.
Why?
I wasn't on the lease.
Well, you were living there.
For the majority of the time, I was living there.
So why didn't you pay security deposit?
Because the security deposit was worked out between the defendant and plaintiff.
Are you still living there?
Yes.
You are?
Yes.
How much security deposit did you put in now?
Nothing.
Nothing. Well, now you're going to put in her security deposit, Kyle. Do you understand?
Yes.
Good. So you're going to give her $285, and then when you move out, if you keep the place nice and clean, you're going to get your $285 back. Doesn't that sound fair to you?
Yes.
Perfect. See how easy this is? Now let's deal with the renter's insurance. Did you pay the renter's insurance?
I paid half of it, yes.
You paid half. How much did you pay, Kyle?
None.
Why not, Kyle?
Because I wasn't officially living there. I was in
What do you mean
between.
you're not officially living there? You were living there, Kyle, because you were paying a third of the rent after 1 month of them signing the lease. You were officially living there. You're not a moron, are you? You wouldn't pay rent in an apartment where you weren't living, would you?
No, I was helping my girlfriend out.
Well, where else were you paying rent, Kyle?
Nowhere else, but I was also with my mom.
You weren't paying any rent to your mom?
No.
He was not living with his mom.
Just a second. Of course he wasn't living with his mom. He thinks because I'm older than he is, I'm stupid. You think all old people are stupid?
No.
Very good. So, you wouldn't pay rent for a place where you weren't living. What do you do for a living?
Loan setup. I work in the mortgage industry.
And how do you get to work every day?
I drive.
A what?
A car.
In whose name is the car?
That would be in my mom's and my name.
Is it in your mom's name because you're too young to have a car in your name?
No, it's just I needed a cosigner on the car.
Oh, but your mom doesn't drive in the car?
Not usually, no.
It's your car?
For the most part, yes.
And how far does your mom live away from you?
I'd say about 15 miles.
So how long does it take you to drive when you go visit her?
10 minutes.
So she doesn't come on the weekends to take your car, does she?
No, but I visit her on the weekends.
You do?
Yes.
And the rest of the time you live where?
I live most of the time over there. There are nights where I do go over there.
What a moron. All right, listen to me, Kyle. You're going to give Miss Weber $313. $285 of that represents her security deposit, which you have now taken over. Do you understand? When you're neat and clean and tidy and you and your girlfriend decide to move out, you'll get the $285 back. Doesn't that sound fair to you?
There was also damage done.
Speaking. Does that sound fair to you?
Yes.
Then you have renter's insurance. Now, renter's insurance covers any property that may be in the apartment. How much property does she have in the apartment?
At that time or right now?
Now!
None.
How much property do you have in the apartment?
A good amount, I believe.
Good. Then the renter's insurance is going to help you out. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $313. It's been delightful chatting with you. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Brenda Jones is suing her ex-boyfriend, Thomas Moses Jr., for bail money and a loan for attorney fees. Brenda says Thomas was arrested for allegedly assaulting his wife.
All rise. Yeah, this is case number 220 on the calendar in the matter of Jones versus Moses. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat.
Miss Jones, you and Mr. Moses were in a relationship for a brief period of time, and according to your complaint, you made 2 loans to him.
That's correct.
One involved some criminal restitution, and the other was a loan for an attorney so that he could start divorce proceedings. I assume that this is your wife.
Yes, ma'am.
And you are currently reconciled with your wife, and according to you, Miss Jones did not make loans to you. These were acts of generosity on her part, and there was no expectation that she was going to be repaid. Is that right, Mr. Moses?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When did you leave your wife?
I left my wife November 22nd.
2005.
04.
04. But I would watch myself on the 22nd of November. And when did you meet Miss Jones?
Met Miss Jones January the 2nd.
January the 3rd.
Where?
I actually met her off the chat line.
So you started to communicate with each other on the internet?
Yes, ma'am.
That is not true.
Where did you meet?
My car was broke down when I was coming out of the tanning bed at a strip mall, and he was coming out of a little place called Deals. And I asked him, would he give me a boost? He said, yes, I don't have jumper cables. I said, I do. And he asked me, was I married? I said, no. Are you married? He said, no. And it kind of
So
took
that's
off.
how you met?
That's how we met.
And then you started to communicate on the internet?
No, we started communicating on the telephone.
Is that right?
Telephone come from the chat line, yes. And we actually met. That was our meeting place at Deals parking lot.
Did you first meet her at Deals parking lot, Mr. Moses, when she asked you for a jumper?
I met her there, but I talked to her on the chat line.
Before?
Before.
Really?
Yes, ma'am.
And when did you start speaking to her on the chat line?
Probably December 30th.
That is not true.
So you're telling me 3 days later you met her at Deals?
That's when she wanted to meet.
Right, it's interesting. Okay. Now, when was the first time, Miss Jones, you gave him money?
It was February the 23rd. I got a phone call in the middle of the night from he and his daughter on a two-way call stating he'd been arrested falsely for beating his wife up and wanted to know, could I come and bond him out?
Now, you had been dating between the 3rd of January and February 23rd?
Yes.
How much did he need to bail him out?
Initially, it was $10,000, so I needed $1,000. So I went to the bank and drew the money out. And when I got to the bondsman, they cut him some type of deal, and it was $837.
Well, you have to tell me about the conversation that you had. What did he say to you, and what did you say to him?
on that particular night at midnight. He asked if I indeed would come and bail him out. He would be able to pay me that Friday. I believe that was on a Sunday. And he makes pretty good money, and, you know, so I knew he could afford to give the whole $837 or a whole $1,000. I thought it was going to be $1,000 at that point.
Did he say, I'll give you the money on Friday?
Friday, yes.
Did he give you the money on Friday?
He said he was having some financial problems. He could give me half of it. He gave me $400.
Did you give her $400, Mr. Moses?
Yes, ma'am.
What was the $400 for?
It's for getting me out of jail.
So you acknowledge that this was a loan?
It wasn't a loan. I just told her I would give her $400 back. I mean, I appreciate it. It was my appreciation to her for getting me out. I mean, I just met her, you know, and it was nice of her to get me out of jail.
Just a second. When did you give her the $400?
That Friday, the following Friday.
Just a second. So you called her from jail and you said, could you bond me out? You didn't say anything to her about giving you back money on Friday?
No, ma'am.
It just happens to be that on that Friday you gave her $400.
Yeah, out of generosity, because she was generous enough to get me out of jail, so I told her I'd give her what I could Friday, and I could give her $400.
Oh, now your story's changed, Mr. Moses.
No.
Now you said that you told her you'd give her what you could on Friday.
Yeah.
Well, that's different from not saying anything to saying, I told her I'd give her what I could. And what you could give her on Friday was $400. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, ma'am.
When was the next time Mr. Moses needed money?
It was about 4 weeks later. He told me he had a...
Just a minute. Between that Friday and 4 weeks later, you mean he didn't give you any more money?
He gave me $150, $50 increments.
When?
Actually, the first payment was $517.
No. Just answer my questions. Now you say that he gave you money in $50 increments, another $150. Was that over the next 4 weeks?
No. There was no money exchanged between the initial loan and the second loan.
That's what I want to know. So tell me what happened 4 weeks later.
Well, when I met him, he told me he was not married, okay? Or make that clear. Then I find out that he's got a lawyer that he's dealing with. It's no count, okay? So he says he's not helping him. He's not helping him to get his kids. His wife is not taking care of the children. He needed his kids desperately. And he knew I had some money saved up, okay? That's my first probably major mistake. And he asked me if I would help him get this new lawyer, put the $1,000 retainer fee. Once his divorce was final, his kids was in his home and they were stable. His financial situation was stabilized. Everything would be on target and he would be able to...
The check's in the mail.
Right.
So you gave him $1,000?
I wrote the $1,000 to the lawyer.
Is that right, sir?
Yes, ma'am. She had pushed me into divorcing my...
Well, explain that to me. How did she do that?
Well, first of all, I never lied to you about being married. I told her I was married and had 4 children and I was going to get a divorce. That was my goal, to get a divorce.
You were going to get a divorce because your wife was a very nice person?
I was going to get a divorce because we had some marital problems.
Well, some marital problems doesn't always talk about divorce, Mr. Moses. Did you actually come here thinking that you were going to run circles in this courtroom?
No, ma'am.
So you told Miss Jones that your wife wasn't caring for the children?
I did.
That you needed to get custody of your children?
I did. I needed them.
Because your children were at risk with your wife because she wasn't taking care of them?
My mother was watching them, actually, at my mother's house.
No, they were running back to...
My mother was watching them.
Were they watching them because your wife has problems?
She was watching them because my wife was, yeah, she had problems.
Put your hand down. What kind of problems did your wife have?
She just had, like...
No, look at my face.
Oh.
What kind of problems did your wife have, Mr. Moses?
She had boyfriend problems. I mean...
Drug.
Did you tell the plaintiff that your wife had a drug problem?
Yes, ma'am.
Karnak.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
How did your daughter find out you were in jail?
I called.
And did you say to your daughter, call Miss Jones?
No, I did not.
Baloney!
And later today...
I guarantee you, at their stage in life, they didn't anticipate taking care of 2 infants, because not only did you make 1 mistake, but you couldn't keep your thing in your pants long enough not to make 2 mistakes.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Brenda Jones says ex-boyfriend Thomas Moses Jr. owes for bail money and a loan to retain an attorney. Brenda claims Thomas lied about being married.
Now, you told Miss Jones that your wife couldn't take care of your children because she was abusing drugs and she had boyfriends, and you needed to get custody of your children.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, how does that translate, Mr. Moses, into she was pushing me to get a divorce from my wife?
Because she kept on me and telling me that she loved me and she wanted me to get divorced from my wife, and she would help me get my children and we could live together, and she kept forcing me to get a divorce.
Forcing you?
I didn't want a divorce.
What did you want? What did you want?
I wasn't clear about what I wanted at the time.
I have a feeling, how old are you?
I'm 44.
That is persistent state of your mind.
Absolutely.
Unclear.
Okay.
Now, you went back to your wife when, sir?
Went back to my wife on, I don't know.
Give me a month.
July the 22nd, just when I got a phone call from the wife.
7/22. Now, when you went back to your wife, sir, did your wife enter a drug rehabilitation program?
No, ma'am.
Then she's still using drugs.
No, ma'am.
Well, if one of the reasons you were having marital difficulties, sir, is because your wife was a drug abuser, and if she didn't enter a program, then she's still using drugs, unless you were lying to the plaintiff when you told her that your wife was a drug abuser. So which one is it? Were you lying to the plaintiff, or was your wife still abusing drugs?
She is not abusing drugs now. She's changed, or for whatever reason, I guess.
Miraculously. What kind of drugs was she abusing, sir?
Just marijuana and stuff.
No, what kind of stuff? Marijuana and what kind of stuff?
And, hydrocodone.
And what?
Hydrocodone.
What is that?
Lortabs.
Lortab.
What is that?
He told me some type of nerve pill.
It's a pain pill because she has lupus and she has a bunch of stuff wrong with her.
So she's not taking those pills anymore? She's not using marijuana anymore? Is that what you're telling me?
Not to my knowledge. Not to my knowledge.
So how come you decided to go home, sir?
For my kids, because things wasn't happening fast enough for me.
So you're home taking care of your children?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you gave her $50 increments 3 times after the loan to the lawyer. What was that for?
It was for the jail.
It was for the jail?
For get me out of jail.
So you were just being a nice guy then? That wasn't a loan?
It was never a loan. I never asked Miss Jones to get me out of jail.
Yes, you did.
Yes, you did.
Yes, you did. You asked her to get you out of jail because otherwise she wouldn't have known that you were in jail, sir.
No, my daughter called her.
How old is your daughter?
18.
How did your daughter find out you were in jail?
I called. I called my house because my house...
You called your house and you spoke to your daughter? And did you say to your daughter, call Miss Jones?
No, I did not.
Baloney!
I did not.
Listen, what's your first name?
Tommy. Thomas.
Slick Tommy, let me explain something to you. You don't take advantage of people and then just walk away. You clean up after your mess. You made a mess, you clean up after it. Bad enough that you involved this woman in your muddled mind, your 44-year-old bouillabaisse that you got going up there. But to take her money is unconscionable, sir. Unconscionable. You owe her $1,287. That's the remainder on the bail and the $1,000 for the lawyer that you, for some reason, decided that you didn't need because your children needed you, which is a very nice thing. You decided to go back to your wife for your children's sake. Very nice. I would suggest to you that it doesn't serve your children well if your wife is abusing drugs to live with her. And if your wife isn't abusing drugs, then you told this lady a fib. Because unless somebody gets into a program, if they are drug abusers, they don't stop. Goodbye. $1,287 is what you owe her.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
She really didn't give me a chance to talk like I wanted to talk.
She knows a piece of you know what when she sees one.
She still calls me all the time and tries to get me to meet her places.
She just saw it go.
I should have never left my wife.
He took advantage of me, took advantage of my heart, and you know, that's the most harmful thing, I think.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Thompson versus Frost. Step forward, please.
Tracy and Steve Thompson are suing Tracy's son, 22-year-old Terry Frost, for a loan to buy a motorcycle, bail money, and impound fees.
Mr. and Mrs. Thompson, this young man is your son?
Correct, my son.
Your stepson?
Yes, ma'am.
I gather you feel he's been a little bit irresponsible.
A lot, yes.
You co-signed for a motorcycle for him a couple of years ago.
Correct.
He stopped making payments on the motorcycle.
Correct.
You took it into your custody. You have the motorcycle.
Correct. It was going to be repoed.
So you made all the payments on it so far?
Correct. When the bank called in regards to being repoed, our credit would be, you know, in bad
jeopardy.
order. Exactly. And so I asked TJ, you know, why aren't you making payments? So then he said at tax time he'd be able to make up what I've already paid and take over payments at that time.
But he didn't.
Correct.
Oh, so now you took a motorcycle back over a year ago.
04, correct. It's been sitting in my backyard.
Okay. Who has the title to it?
I actually got the title. I got it last month, and it's actually in his
Great.
name.
Great.
I have pictures of the bike, too, if you'd like to see it.
I assume you've kept it in good condition?
No, he actually didn't. He laid it down, and then it's like all dismantled, and apparently he blew out second gear. I don't know what all damage is to it, but...
Okay. Have them sign this over to them, please.
Your Honor, I really don't want the bike.
Then you shouldn't have signed for him. You shouldn't have taken it back over a year ago. When you took it back over a year ago, madam, what you should have done is gotten it, sued him, and come to court immediately. You know, now what you have to do is you have to sell it, and if there is any shortfall between that and what you owe on the bike, you may be able to sue him again. But right now, you have to take the bike and you have to sell it. Now let's talk about the bail. You bailed him out, again, over a year ago.
Yes.
Tell me how that came about.
He called one night. He had gotten a DUI, and I went down the next morning and bailed him out of jail.
When was that?
Late of 03.
In 2003?
Yes.
So 2 years ago.
Yes.
When did you co-sign for this bike?
In 2002.
And what was he driving in when he had a DUI?
Another car of his.
Did you call them?
Yes.
Did you tell them you were going to pay him back for the bail?
I just asked him to bail me out of jail.
And they did?
Yeah.
Were you working?
No.
How'd you expect him to pay you back?
Whenever he got a job.
There are loans, and then there are what we call great expectations. I would assume that when he called you and said, I'm in jail, come and get me out, you said, I'll be right down. Right?
Not quite, but
What did you say to him?
I reluctantly went down.
Right. Because you love her.
No, actually, I was not going to bail him out because that was
Oh,
his
that would have been
second
very
time
smart.
out.
I wouldn't have bailed him out.
Well, and then he
Maybe-
felt sorry for him.
And this
then
was
he
in
bailed him out.
2003. How old are your children?
2 and 8 months.
Oh, at least he might not have had one. He makes a lot of bad choices.
Correct.
Isn't that right, sir?
I guess, yeah.
What do you mean you guess? How old are you?
22.
You're 22 and you have 2 children.
Yep.
And how old is the mother of these children?
21.
And where does she live?
With her mom.
And where do you live?
With my aunt.
That sounds like a wonderful family. Now, you hesitated for a moment, Mr. Frost, when I said you've made some bad choices. Let me explain to you what you've done. In your short period of time, you've probably screwed up their credit. Are they rich people?
No.
Well, you stuck them with a motorcycle loan, right?
Right.
You stuck them with your bail, right? You stuck perfect strangers with taking care of 2 babies. That's your girlfriend's parents that she's living with.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because I guarantee you at their stage in life, they didn't anticipate taking care of 2 infants. Because not only did you make 1 mistake, but you couldn't keep your thing in your pants long enough not to make 2 mistakes. And you say to me, you have a question as to whether or not you made mistakes?
Yeah.
You have a question?
No.
So you could have avoided the whole thing by saying, you know, I was a dumb kid.
Okay.
Dumb kids make dumb kid mistakes. They don't make babies.
Right.
Not 2. Who do you work for now? That's not a question that requires a lot of thought. You have 2 babies.
For Thompson Tile Maintenance.
You work full-time or part-time?
Part-time, and I go to school full-time.
Where do you go to school full-time?
Davenport University.
What kind of school?
I'm going for medical.
You want to be a doctor?
Not a doctor. A nurse.
Thank God. Do you see your grandchildren?
I do now. There was a period that with this loan, I didn't see him for about 7 months or something like that. And then he had his second baby, and I ended up going to the hospital and seeing the baby. And, you know, he has since told me, you know, him and his fiance are paying off her parents some money. And I think he owes me this money for this bike because I don't want this bike. I want him to pay me for this bike because I didn't want the bike
I think that morally he should do that.
Yes.
I just told you the legal result of what's going to happen here today.
Right.
If your son chooses to take the moral high road, that's up to him. You paying the maternal grandparents of your children some money?
I'm not. My fiance is.
For what?
I don't know, whatever they loaned her.
What do you spend your money on?
He gives
baby
it
stuff.
to her.
Well, that's good.
Right. No, I agree.
That's
She's
good.
a
That's
blessing.
fine.
She's a blessing.
That's fine. Somebody's got to
Exactly.
support these babies.
She's a blessing. She keeps things straight.
So you give her money?
Yeah,
How much?
my whole check.
And what do you give to your aunt?
Nothing.
Mr. and Mrs. Thompson, put a lock on your checkbook.
Right?
Yes,
Done
ma'am.
did.
Good. Goodbye.
Others are excused. You may step out.
Motivational speaker Carolyn Boone is suing her former lover, Pepe Hibbert, for money loaned and storage fees. Carolyn says Pepe conned her.
That's case number 181 on the calendar, the matter of Boone versus Hibbert. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Ms. Boone, you claim that Mr. Hibbert owes you for a series of loans that you made
Yes.
to him in order to help him relocate to another city. In addition, he stored his car or truck or SUV in your home, and you want him to pay storage fees for that. Okay. So you met, and at some point, he asked you out. You went out for dinner, you went out for a movie, you went out for a drink, you went out for something, or did he just initially ask you for money?
No, it was a 3-day period, kind of a whirlwind romance, if you would. The way he got to my house was by telling me that he was interested in buying one of my cars that I had for sale, that he wanted to come see it. He also said he was a licensed mechanic and could check out this car I was test driving. He tried to get me to go out with him that night.
You're talking too fast.
Okay.
I'm not interested in the social aspect,
Okay,
madam.
right.
I'm interested. You met him on January 6th. When for the first time did he ask you for money?
3 days later, he informed me that the next day he would be moving to the state of Georgia to go to seminary. He said he needed money to get to seminary, that it was a big move, it was a long way away. And I asked him how much. He said $2,000 or $3,000. So I told him that I would be able to loan him too. Normally, I don't walk around with that kind of cash, but I had just cashed a check from a sale of a business that my family owned.
Had you told him about that?
I had showed him a cashier's check for $17,500 from me to me.
Oh, Miss Boone,
I know.
what a mistake.
Yeah, I learned you don't do that.
How much money did you give him?
I gave him $2,000 in cash that day. The next day he said he...
Your Honor, the fact of the matter is...
Don't tell me what the fact, just tell me about the $2,000.
Miss Boone wanted to get into a relationship with me from day one.
Good. Let's start day one, January 9th. You took $2,000 from her, is that correct?
She gave me the money as a down payment on my vehicle.
Down?
No.
Oh, shh, shh, shh. Just a second. Just a second. Shh. Just a second. She gave you $2,000 as a down payment on the car.
Yes, Your Honor.
How? Don't say anything, Miss Boone. How much was the total price of the car?
I told her that I was selling the car for $6,500.
I'm going to ask you questions, so you're going to have to be really quick with your answers.
No problem.
Mr. Hibbert,
No
I want to tell
problem,
you
Your
something.
Honor.
You think you're smart? Between him and me? Between him and me? You're a kindergartner. I want you to trust me on that. And you don't want to appear foolish here, do you, Mr. Hibbert?
No, Your Honor.
Now, what kind of car was it that you were going to sell her for $6,500?
A 1994 black BMW 325 IS, Your Honor.
Salad free bill.
Shh! Now, so she gave you $2,000 down payment.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did she ever purchase the car?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, Your Honor.
So you never gave her title to the car?
I let her hold the title in good faith. I did not sign the back, Your Honor.
Okay. Do you have the title back?
She didn't want to give it to me back, Your Honor.
Do you have the car?
No, Your Honor.
Where's the car?
I sold it, Your Honor.
How much did you sell the car for and to whom?
$5,000, Your Honor.
To whom?
To...
You're making it up as you're going along, Mr. Hibbert.
No, Your Honor, I'm not.
Yeah.
It's to an individual in Atlanta, Georgia that I sold the vehicle to.
Name?
Her name is...
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know
He
it.
doesn't get it.
I don't know it.
Right,
You told him.
Right, I told him.
You told him.
I told him. Who are you ministering to, Mr. Hibbert? I want to know who you're ministering to, sir.
Who am I ministering to?
Yes, you're a minister, aren't you?
Yes, Your Honor.
I want to know who you're ministering to.
Currently, no one, Your Honor.
That's a very good thing, Mr. Hibbert. That's very, very good. Because the truth will set you free, Mr. Hibbert.
Amen. Yes,
Why
Lord.
didn't you give her back her $2,000?
I called her up and told her I would give her $2,000 back.
Oh, here we go. Good.
She said, I don't owe her $2,000, I owe her $4,300. And she maliciously went to the church that's endorsing me.
I don't care whether she went to a church or not.
And they pulled my endorsement, and that's the reason why I called her.
Oh, just a minute. You mean she went to your church and said he's got my $2,000?
No,
and
that's not all she said, Your Honor. She said that I did sexual misconduct to her. She said that I took her $4,300 from her, and she said that I trespassed on her property.
You're not supposed to take advantage of people, Mr. Hibbert, if you want to be a minister.
I'm not taking advantage of anyone.
Because in January, you should have sent her back her $2,000. In February, you should have sent her back her $2,000. You took her $2,000. Isn't that right?
I loaned him more than that, and it wasn't
Just a second. Listen, did you hear what I said to him?
Yes.
About giving me an upfront?
Yes.
All right. Did you have a discussion with him about buying his BMW?
No, I've always driven hand-me-down Cadillacs that my father would give. I'm a Cadillac person. And I have a 2002 Cadillac that I'm buying right now. Okay. I loaned it to him to move to seminary.
Whether it was a loan or whether it was a down payment on a car that he never came through with, he owes you the $2,000, right?
Your Honor, when you go to a car dealership and you put a down payment on a vehicle and you do not continue to make payments, what happens, Your Honor?
You took the car.
They come and take the car from
No,
you, and you out of your money.
You took the car
Yes,
to Georgia.
Your Honor, I did, and she knew this up front. She knew that that's what I was doing.
He doesn't owe you anything for storing his car in your carport.
Okay, he said he was going to get it in 1 week. He came back 4 months later to get it.
What I'm telling you is you could have gotten a tow truck to tow it out, send him a letter, say, if you don't get it out of here in 5 days, I'm getting rid of it. But that kind of favor does not turn into a contract just because you don't want the car. You don't want the car, they call the garbage man, let him take the car. You don't get storage fees. Do you understand?
I understand what
good.
you're saying.
Very good. Now, tell me what happened, sir, about this business where you were arrested for trespass.
Once I found out that she went to the church and told the pastor these felonious stories, I then went to North Carolina to get my truck. Now, once I was at the mechanic waiting for my vehicle, the police roll up and arrest me and take me to jail, saying that they have...
Can I see a copy of the complaint?
Yes,
Don't
Your
raise
Honor.
your hand, Miss Boone.
Right here, there's the warrant for arrest, and here's the court where they dismissed, gave me a not guilty charge on that, Your Honor.
That's not what it was about.
Okay. Date of the offense, it says here, was February 6th, 2005. What happened on February 6th, madam?
We had a big argument. I was telling him to leave. He would not leave. The only way I finally got him out was to say, okay, I'm leaving. We're both going to walk out. And we did.
I'm not getting the trespass, madam.
Okay. They informed me that the magistrate
Don't tell me what the magistrate...
Okay.
I'm asking you, what conduct of Mr. Hibbert's did you complain about to the police?
He was blocking my door, and it was pretty scary at the moment. It was making me anxious.
And then, listen to me, subsequently, the same night, you got back together again.
Yes.
Was there any other conduct by Mr. Hibbert after that, where you told him to leave, he was blocking the door and he didn't leave, that you reported to the police by way of the trespass?
No.
That was it?
Yes.
And when did you report that to the police?
The day that I filed the monetary charges, he was already in custody. And it was May 27th, I think.
Right.
Okay.
It was May 27th. So what you're telling me is you had this argument on February 6th, wherein you fought with him because he didn't come back. He was supposed to come back, and he blocked the door, and that was a trespass because you were told him to leave. You ultimately both left together, and then later that night you reconnected and got together.
Yes.
You didn't report that to the police February 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, the month of February.
Right.
Month of March, you didn't report it to the police. March, April, May, you didn't report it to, you reported to the police 4 months later. That's what you're telling me?
Yes.
You just lost your $2,000.
Well,
you just lost your $2,000, Miss Boone. I'm going to tell you why. Not because I think he deserves a break, but because when people abuse the justice system, I'm not talking about civil court. Civil court, you take him to. Civil court, he owes you $2,000. You take him to civil court. But when you bring out a detective to take a statement, you took the time of at least one policeman, you took the time of a magistrate, you took the time of a court, you took the time of court officers, clerks to draw up your papers. You took all that time because you felt as if he didn't do the right thing by you. And you were going to get him good.
No.
You weren't just going to get him for the $2,000. You were going to get him good because that's not a trespass, madam.
The magistrate advised me to do it, and it was...
Well, listen to me. That's baloney. That's baloney. I don't believe it. It's hearsay. What you did was vindictive, and I don't care if what you do is vindictive. I mean, you know, vindictive conduct, as far as I'm concerned, is somebody who really is an amoral person parading around as a preacher. That you can be as vindictive as you like. But when you abuse the justice system, that's something that I won't tolerate.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
she told me, too bad, I've talked to an attorney and you're not getting any more than that.
She told me she wanted to take her dog to the vet weekly for the next 6 months, and she wanted me to pay for that.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Carolyn Boone says former lover Pepe Hibbert owes for a loan and storage fees. Pepe is countersuing, claiming Carolyn had him falsely arrested for trespassing.
You weren't scared, madam, of him, frightened of what he was going to do between February 6th, when he locked the door, and later that evening when you got back together. Now, when you say you got back together and reconnected, do you want to tell me what that means, Mr. Hibbert? Does that mean that you went out for dinner together? Does that mean you had a drink together? Does that mean that you were intimate together? What does that mean?
I've never been intimate with this lady.
Okay. What does it mean when you said to me you got back together?
We got a hotel room and stayed there.
All right.
Okay, I do.
So what you're telling me is after you got a hotel room together, you decided to tell somebody in the justice system that he trespassed on your property on February 6th.
To her.
All right. Well, I'm not interested in it. You just lost your $2,000. Sir, and you just paid a $2,000 on your counterclaim. Do you understand? That means you get exactly what each of you deserve. Nothing. Goodbye. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He's reaching for straws to try to get out of paying me the $4,300 that I loaned him.
I continually told her I wasn't interested in having a relationship with her.
He's trying to get me back. He's saying I ruined his career.
And then when she saw that I was standing strong to not wanting a relationship with her.
But it'll be brought to light, not here in this forum, but ultimately it will be brought to light.
She then decided, okay, let me maliciously try to ruin this man.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Crowther versus Moore. Step forward.
Shelby Crowther is suing her neighbor, 24-year-old Cody Moore, for vet bills. Shelby says Cody's 6-year-old son, Caden, threw her dog in the air and broke his leg.
According to your complaint, Miss Moore's little boy, this 6-year-old, was in your backyard where your dog was playing. He was invited over by your son, who is a couple of years older. How old are you?
8.
Stand up next to your mother. I have a few questions for you. Tell me your name.
My name's Cody.
Cody, do you know this little boy's name?
No.
What's your name?
Caden Moore. He does know my name.
Caden Moore.
Yeah, when we were at daycare.
Caden.
Okay. Is he your neighbor?
Yes.
Remember that day when your dog got injured?
Say yes.
You remember?
Yes.
You have to answer my questions. Were you playing in the backyard?
Yes.
Did you invite him to come over in your backyard? No. Did you offer him a lollipop?
Yes, but I put it through the fence.
Did you offer him a lollipop?
Yes.
And did he take the lollipop?
Yes.
Did he come around in your backyard?
No.
He was never in your backyard?
Yes, but...
How did he get there?
Climbed the fence.
And what happened when he got there?
He started playing for a little, then he picked Gizmo up and threw him up in the air and broke his leg.
What did you say to him when he did that?
Nothing.
What did you do?
I picked up Gizmo.
And where did he go?
My mom told him to go back home.
And he did. And you took your dog Gizmo to the doctor?
Correct.
And he had a broken leg?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And you want Miss Moore to pay for the vet bills?
Correct.
I'm listening.
I did not become aware of the situation until she had come over to my house to let me know what was going on. I talked to my son, and he said that her son told him that if he'd climb the fence, that he would give him a sucker and they could play.
So he's over in the backyard?
Mm-hmm. And my son did say that he picked up the dog, that her son asked him to put the dog down, and my son did that. However, he did not throw her dog at all.
Well, how do you think the leg got broken?
I believe that he did drop her dog. A dog that weighs 4 pounds has a leg like a toothpick, so I'm sure it did break. That's, I believe that.
So either way, whether he dropped him or threw him.
I offered to pay the bills. I gave her my cell phone number. I asked her to please call me when the dog was done so that I knew what was going on. She's my new neighbor. I just moved in.
So what was the problem?
The problem started when she tried to press criminal charges on my child.
No,
And
what
that's actually
happened-
in the police report that I have with me. She had told the police a completely fabricated story. The police
Well,
came...
what did you do after the dog? You took the dog to the vet.
After I picked the dog up, went in the house, and immediately went over to her house. My husband held the dog for me. I went over to her house and explained to her what had happened. She told me that's not possible. Her son was in his bedroom unpacking.
No,
I said that is not true. He was just in my backyard, and I told him to go home.
Okay, well, maybe she didn't know that.
We went into the backyard. He wasn't in there, so he was in the garage. And she asked him, and he said yes, he did pick the dog up and drop the dog.
Okay.
And I told her, I said, you're going to be responsible for these vet bills. I said, I don't have the money. She looked at me and said, well, I'm a single mom, so maybe it's best to put the dog to sleep and I will buy you a new one. I immediately looked at her and said, that's not how this works. This is my dog. I mean, he's my baby. We're not going to put him to sleep.
Did you go over there, Miss Crowther, angry?
No, I did not raise my voice at her.
You don't have to raise your voice.
I was upset. I was bawling.
Okay.
I was upset.
Okay. I mean, I can imagine that you were upset, and I can imagine that you were not calm when you spoke to her. You may not have been screaming at her. You may not have been cursing at her. I don't know. But I assume, based upon just the way you phrased it to me today, that you did not go over there in a neighborly-like way.
Right.
Well, that was wrong. This is not something that's done maliciously.
Right.
So then you should have taken it down a notch. Right?
Right.
You owe her an apology.
I'm sorry if I upset you.
You should have taken it down a notch. She didn't do anything.
Right. I didn't become enraged until she told me to put my
just
dog
a second.
to sleep.
Enraged is a relative term. If you went over there and you say, gee, that was just a real bad accident, I think that your little boy was responsible for my dog's broken leg. Right. You know, I'm going to take the dog to the vet. You know, we're going to be able to handle this. That's one way of putting it. Another way of putting it is to go over there with screaming mimis on, you know, because your dog is injured. I got it. But I think, at least with her, you overreacted. She said she'd pay the vet bill. What's the vet bill?
Well, the problem is...
She said she'd pay the vet bill. What's the vet bill?
$364.25.
That's a hefty bill for her to pay, but if she said she would pay it, it's her responsibility, and she's going to take care of it. Did you call the police?
Yes.
Why?
Because I was informed that I had to have a police case number in order to file a civil claim in court.
Well, I don't know who's giving you legal advice. Certainly not any reputable person I know. You don't need a police report in order to file a small claims case.
I don't understand if I said I would pay it, why she would have to file a small claims case.
I have no idea. I have no idea.
She was only going to pay the initial bill. She told me she would not pay to have the cast removed. She flat told me, I'm only going to pay the $299. And I says, what about the remaining cost? She told me, too bad, I've talked to an attorney and you're not getting any more than that.
Actually, she told me she wanted to take her dog to the vet weekly for the next 6 months, and she wanted me to pay for that.
The vet required that he come in every week to have the cast looked at so that it didn't get infected or anything happen.
The whole bill was $364.25. Judgment for the plaintiff, $364.25. When you have a new neighbor, you try to handle things reasonably. She seems like a nice lady. Now you're at odds with each other and you share a backyard. That's terrible. And you have two kids who would probably play very nicely together. You know, they're two nice little boys. See if you can go have a cup of coffee together. It would probably be a very good idea. You're going to live there for a long time?
Plan to.
All right, so you got off to a bad start. See if you can make it better.
Okay.
You'll be happier. That's all.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
21-year-old Sarah Ali is suing nightclub owner Dan Dugan for medical bills and pain and suffering. Sarah claims she was punched in the face by one of Dan's bouncers.
Order. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 233 on the calendar in the matter of Ali versus Dugan. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Miss Ali, it is your claim that you and a boyfriend were at defendant's club and you were, without provocation, assaulted by an employee of his. And the defendant's position is that you were intoxicated and that any injuries that you sustained as a result of your own intoxication. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. When were you at his club?
On May 9th of this year.
How old are you?
I'm 21.
And what do you do?
I go to school and I do customer service.
What school do you go to?
OSU.
What is that?
Ohio State.
You a full-time student?
Part-time.
And you work part-time or full-time?
Part-time.
Who's your boyfriend? Is he here?
He's right there.
How old is he?
He's 22.
Does he go to school also?
Yes.
Now, on the 9th of May, who were you at this club with?
I was with him, with
Just the
my
two of you?
boyfriend. Just two of us.
Had you been to this club before?
I've been there once before.
What time did you arrive there?
I arrived there about 11:40.
Where had you been before that evening?
Before that evening, I've been to the movies.
With your boyfriend?
Yes.
And from the movies, you went to the club?
Yes.
Tell me what happened.
Okay, at the time when we got there, we were just having fun, just around there, and then it got about 2 o'clock. It was time for everybody to go home. And we were about to leave, and then one of the security guards, he was gonna open the back door for us to leave, and all of a sudden I heard another security guard yelling behind us. He came and he said, "I know you two heard me calling you back there. Why are you ignoring me?" And my boyfriend nicely said that, "I'm sorry we didn't hear you, but we are leaving right now." And then he said, "No, you can't go because I know you were ignoring me and you need to tell me why you were ignoring me." And then he grabbed my arm. And when he grabbed my arm, I yanked my arm off him and told him, "Please don't ever touch me again." And as soon as I said that, he must have got mad and he grabbed both of us and just pushed us against the wall real hard.
Shh, don't say anything.
When he pushes against the wall real hard, like it hurt my back. And then all of a sudden it happened so fast that he hit me and I must have dropped because I don't remember exactly what happened. I heard noises, but I couldn't see. I remember my boyfriend grabbing me. When he grabbed me, we were pushed out from the back door. And then we heard all noises, and I heard my boyfriend call the police and the ambulance for me. And then when the cops arrived, he asked us what happened. And when my boyfriend tried...
Can I see the police report?
Sure.
Is the security guard still in your employ?
No, ma'am, he's not.
What's his name?
I know him as Big Ant.
Big Ant?
Yes.
How long did he work for you?
It's perhaps a year or so.
Well, Mr. Dugan, you pay your employees on the books?
Sometimes.
Did you pay Big Ant on the books or off the books? Look at me.
Yes, ma'am.
On the books or off the books?
He was paid cash at the end of every night. I do not know if he reported it.
Well, I'm just asking you because if you paid him on the books, then you'd have to have a name other than Big Ant.
Yes, ma'am.
You thought this was going to be easy?
No, ma'am.
It's not going to be easy.
Yes, ma'am.
Because you weren't there that night.
No, I wasn't.
And you don't know what happened. Hopefully...
I was home with my pregnant wife who was 2 weeks away from giving birth, ma'am.
Listen, they're good for you.
Thank you.
And I hope everything turned out okay. But right now you have this gentleman who I assume wants to tell me what he saw because he was there that night. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
You'll be up there in a second. I want you to make sure you got it all straight in your head. You understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any other reports that you have?
No, ma'am. I have some pictures of the incident that
I would like
happened
to see
my
them.
eye.
You were treated at the hospital for
my eye.
You had a laceration under your eye. According to the police, somebody socked you in the eye.
Right.
Is that the only injury that you sustained?
Yes.
Tell me your name.
Troy Jones.
On what date did Big Ant terminate your employ?
As of that night. Not heard from him since.
When you say as of that night, is that because he didn't return to work on the 10th? Or because you told him not to return to work on the 10th?
He left before the police arrived, or when the police arrived.
And you know that from this gentleman?
He and other employees.
Why did Big Ant take off?
I have no idea, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Jones, how long have you been in Mr. Dugan's employ?
On and off for about 5 years.
In what capacity?
I work with the bands that work there on a particular night, specifically Sunday nights.
What do you mean you work with the bands?
I'm also a member of the band also.
How many hours were you working that night?
I usually arrive at the club early, about 8 o'clock, and then the band usually starts performing anywhere between 10:30 and 11 o'clock at night.
When you're playing with the band, do you have any alcohol?
No, I don't drink at all.
Tell me what you observed on the 9th of May.
At around 2:15, between 2:15 and 2:30, we asked that security start having people leave the bar because by law, everybody has to be out of the bar by 2:30. Also, what happens is the bar staff will not count any money until all the patrons are out of the bar. Well, they were walking the other direction.
They were walking in what direction?
Toward the side door, which is basically like an emergency exit. Big Ant is telling them, hey, you got to go out. We have to leave now. You have to go this way. Well, he said it 5 or 6 times. By the time he gets up to them, they get together. Some words were exchanged. I don't know exactly what was said, but all I know is I seen a hand come up, which looked like a female hand. He was scratched, and there was a ruckus in between her and her boyfriend and Big Ant. And it wasn't a punch, it was more or less like an open hand smack like that. But he's a big guy, so it may have caused some damage. But it looked like she attacked him first.
Well,
that's a lie.
No, that's
you
not
didn't,
true, Your
but
Honor.
shh, Mr. Jones, you didn't actually see that.
Yes, I did. From where I was standing, what I could see, yeah.
Where you were standing, what you can see. Now, you're equivocating. The one thing you didn't equivocate about was you saw Big Ant hit her. It looked like with an open hand somewhere around her face. That you said you saw?
Yes.
Well, an open hand doesn't cause this kind of damage.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I saw what appeared to be a female hand. Of necessity, it would have to be the plaintiff, unless her boyfriend has feminine hands.
And later today,
Well, when you pulled it off, madam, you scratched the paint.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did!
No, I didn't.
Listen to me. Yes, you did. That's why I'm here and you're there.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Sarah Ali says she was punched in the face at Dan Dugan's nightclub. Sarah says the culprit was one of Dan's bouncers.
Okay, let's go back to what you saw at the beginning. You said that you saw what appeared to be a female hand. Is that what you told me?
Yeah, going up like this, coming down at him.
Well, how many females were standing there, Mr. Jones?
It was only one.
So describe what a female hand looks like, Mr. Jones.
Well, I mean, a female hand is not nearly as big as a man's hand in most cases, is what I think. I could be wrong.
So there were 3 people there.
Right.
Is that right? Big Aunt, this young lady, and her boyfriend.
Right.
So when you say to me, I saw what appeared to be a female hand, of necessity, it would have to be the plaintiff, unless her boyfriend has feminine hands. Is that right, Mr. Jones?
Could be, could not be.
Well, I mean, by a process of elimination, if there are 3 people standing there, unless, according to you, Big Ant scratched himself, sir, it would have to be one of the other 2 people.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
I'm having too much fun. Now, did you wait around for the police to arrive, sir?
Yes, ma'am, I was still there.
Did you observe the ambulance?
I seen the ambulance pull up, yes.
So you knew that the police were treating this as a serious incident?
Yes.
Is that right?
Well, if they were called, yes.
And if they were treating this as a serious incident, clearly they were treating this young lady as the victim.
Right.
And certainly, based upon what you told me, you observed that this young lady was the aggressor in this incident. Is that right?
Yes, they both were.
No, 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 you didn't say both. I said who was the aggressor. Based upon what you told me, she was the aggressor. Is that right? And you would want to be a good citizen. You are a good citizen, aren't you, Mr. Jones?
Yes, Your Honor.
Could you explain to me how the police report is silent with regard to your statement to the police that she was the aggressor and scratched him?
No policeman ever came and talked to me.
Well, do you think that the police have some sort of crystal ball? If you have information that this employee of the club that you know for a year was the real victim, and there were a lot of people there, you think it's a good idea to go up to the police and say, listen, I saw the whole thing. She scratched him first. Look at his face. Well, the police report doesn't say anything about Big Ant having any scratches on his face.
Well, he wasn't there to make a report.
Even more of a reason for someone who witnessed the whole process to go up to the police and say, listen, the guy took off, but he was really not responsible. She was responsible. She assaulted him. Isn't that right, Mr. Jones?
Yeah.
Sit down.
Can I make one statement?
Anything else you want to say to me, Mr. Dugan?
I don't think so, Your
Good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount requested, $3,000. That's all.
All you guys do, step out.
Had you contacted me, I would have helped you. And I'm really sorry what happened to you.
I'll be back to it.
I'm really sorry what happened.
I'll be back.
Okay. I'm going. Thank you. Thank all of you. Have a good life. She rendered her decision as she saw fit. That's her job.
I think I got what I deserved.
I'm happy with the judgment, but they need some regulations in that club.
As I was leaving, this security guard comes out of nowhere and picks on us for some reason.
They said that a woman was punched by a bouncer when she refused to leave.
I tried calling the club many times.
They want to come and have a nice time and behave themselves and leave when it's time to leave? Great.
I never went back there after that happened, and I don't intend to go back.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Villapudua versus Contreras. Step forward.
22-year-old Lorena Villapudua is suing her boyfriend's ex, 24-year-old Magdalena Contreras, for vandalizing her car. Lorena claims Magdalena ripped off the license plate frame.
According to your complaint, the defendant, Ms. Contreras, is your boyfriend's ex-girlfriend.
Correct.
They also have a child together.
Right.
How old is that child?
He's 6.
Are you pregnant again?
Yes.
Whose baby is that?
My fiance.
You live together?
Yes.
You only have one child?
Little Rudy, and then this one that's coming on the way.
According to your complaint, you and your fiancé were at an open school night at Rudy's school.
Right.
The defendant was there with her mother?
Yes.
There was some sort of an argument that took place, and after that, Ms. Contreras vandalized your car.
Yes, because she was upset with him.
Ms. Contreras says she didn't do as much as you said she did, just did a little. Is that your defense?
Yes.
Ms. Contreras, that's almost like being a little bit pregnant. It doesn't happen.
Lorena Villapudua says her boyfriend's ex, Magdalena Contreras, vandalized her car. Magdalena claims Lorena provoked her.
Now, I'm going to go to Ms. Contreras because Ms. Contreras doesn't seem to object and seems to acknowledge the fact that she did put her hands on your car. So I'm going to ask her to tell me why.
Because my ex, Rudy, was supposed to take our son.
Rudy?
Yes. He was supposed to take our son to open house, which he didn't, and...
Okay. So it was an open school night, and Rudy was with his father?
Yes.
For how long?
It's joint custody, so every other week he's with his dad.
So he had him for the week?
Yes.
Okay, so he didn't bring him to open school night?
Yeah, he didn't.
So?
So I got upset, and I started asking him, why didn't he bring our son? And he said our son would rather be with his grandpa. And I just got upset, and I started yelling at him.
In the school?
Yeah.
Yes.
Why? Because I was upset. I was hurt that he didn't take our son.
Control yourself. You were making a scene in the school?
Yes.
Well, that's stupid.
I know it's stupid.
Didn't your mother tell you to shut up?
Yeah, she did tell me to shut up, but I didn't
Good
listen to
for
her.
you.
No, she didn't.
Good for you.
She did not.
Shh. Am I the kind of person who needs help from you?
No.
So you created a scene in your son's school, which of course left everybody, including the teachers, the administration, the other parents, with the idea that this child comes from a home where they're not going to let their kids go and visit, certainly, because his mother doesn't know how to control herself.
Well, I was very hurt that he didn't take our son. Our son was
Get over it.
all happy that he was going to go.
Get over it. Did the court grant you joint custody?
Yes.
The court granted you joint custody, then the court clearly had to say, I think that both of these parents are responsible enough to take care of this child an equal amount of time, that they're two good parents, and they made a judgment that he was as good a parent as you were, so that if he's with his father and his father decides not to bring him to open school night, that's none of your business. So let's move on from there. So you got angry, making a scene in the school in front of other people. Then what did you do?
We went into the classroom, the teacher started talking to us, and she was showing us...
Were you behaving at this point?
Yeah.
Good. And?
And then I just went to his desk and got his little picture, and then me and my mom took off, and then I seen Lorena's car, and I recognized it, and I just broke off her license plate holder. That's all I did to it. I didn't scratch it or anything else.
Well, tell me exactly the steps that you took. You saw her car while you were driving in your car?
No, I
or
was
were you
walking to my car.
Okay. You were walking to your car, you saw her car.
Mm-hmm.
So you had to bend down. Did you take off the back license plate or the front?
The back, just the holder.
And what did you do with it?
I broke it off, and then I was going to leave it on her window, but I didn't, so I just took off with it.
Can I see photographs of the damage to the car, please?
Yes, you may. I also have a police report.
I'd like to see that, too, please.
And it has a witness, a 13-year-old girl that was standing out near the car.
Well, when you pulled it off, madam, you scratched the paint.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did!
No, I didn't. I didn't
Listen
scratch
to
her
me.
car.
Listen to me. Yes, you did.
No.
Yes, you did. That's why I'm here and you're there.
I didn't scratch your car.
That's why I'm here and you're there.
Your Honor, I seen it.
Just a second. Say nothing. You still have to share custody of this child, I assume.
Yes.
So, she can get mad at me, I don't care. As a matter of fact, I rather like it. You were driving the white truck?
Yes, ma'am.
And you said to your daughter, what are you doing?
Exactly.
Exactly. What did you say to this idiot when she got back into the car?
I told her that, why did you do that? It was uncalled for.
Absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You have an estimate?
I do. I didn't scratch your car when I broke that off. There's no way that I scratched your car. Your Honor, may I say something?
Go ahead.
The license plate frame is screwed on.
I know what she did.
can't-
She pulled it off. She went like this in order to get it off, and in doing so, she scratched the car with the license plate. That's what she did. And she keeps saying, I just took off the frame. When you went over to take off the frame, genius, did you have with you pliers?
No.
You had your hands?
Yes.
So you had to pull it. It was screwed on. When you pulled it, in order to get it off, and you were jiggling it, you scratched around the car. Do you get it?
I didn't scratch your car.
Oh, what an idiot. What an idiot. Listen, do me a favor. You know, she's pregnant now. When she's finished, discuss birth control with her. It's really a shame that we're continuing this. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $618. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Landlord Suzanne Brown is suing plumber Anthony Chance for harassment. Suzanne says when she refused Anthony's professional services, he became vindictive.
Yeah, this is case number 263 on the calendar in the matter of Brown versus Chance. Parties have been sworn in, Your Honor. You may be seated. Have a seat.
Miss Brown, you own a building.
Yes, I do.
And one of your buildings had a leak. According to your complaint, you looked in the yellow pages and you found a plumber, the defendant, and asked him to go over and take a look and see what the problem was. So far, is that about right?
That's right.
He went over there and he called you and he told you what he thought the problem was and what it would take to fix it.
That's correct.
You paid him for his service call. You eventually found somebody else to fix the problem, paid him less money. And it is your claim that because Mr. Chance was angry that he didn't get the job, he harassed you in a vindictive way by going over and frightening your tenants, telling them that things were dangerous as a result of the shoddy workmanship that was being done in their building. Now, when did you have a leak in your building?
That was July 17th.
Who had a leak in their apartment?
Terry James.
Step up. Miss James, tell me what happened in your apartment on the 17th of July.
I had a leak by the bedroom window.
Near the bedroom window?
Yeah, down by the floor, by the baseboard.
Had it been raining that day?
Nope. But the lineman had watered and watered and watered, and he had forgot to leave the water on.
So it was clear water that was coming through?
Yes.
And you called the landlord?
Yes.
All right, is that what brought you to the apartment, Mr. Chance?
No, it's not.
Well, what brought you to the apartment, sir?
Well, Suzanne Brown gave us a call on the 17th, and we went out to the property and did an inspection of the property. When we entered the tenant's unit, we found that the tub was full of sewage. There was about...
That's a lie, Your Honor.
Shh, just a second. The bathtub?
The bathtub
was full of sewage?
Was full of sewage.
Is that right?
No, not full of
lie.
sewage.
Is that right?
That's a lie. That's a lie. There was no sewage in the tub at all. He wasn't even the man that came out. The man that came out, he ain't even here, I guess.
Really?
The man that came out walked around the house, went around to the front, got on the phone and called this man.
Did he come at that point?
No, he didn't. He never showed up. He showed
Not
up.
that day?
No.
Is that right, sir?
I was there on the 17th of July. I did not go in her unit. But
Just a minute. So you didn't go into her unit?
I did not.
So you didn't see anything in her unit on the 17th of July?
I saw sewage all around the perimeter of the outside of the building.
You did not go into her unit on the 17th?
I did not.
Good. Do you have a copy of the receipt that you got?
Yes, I
from
do.
His company?
He sent that to me.
Okay. They say that in the front unit, they have water standing in the tub. Someone has inserted the word sewer water standing in the tub in this. This is the way you received it?
Exactly.
Okay. Now, when did you call somebody else? On what date?
I had actually called, there's a plumber that I always use. I had actually called him. The problem was that when I found out about the leak, it was a Sunday, and he wasn't available, and I wasn't sure how big it was, and I wanted to fix the issue.
Is this your regular plumber?
Yes.
Sit down. Step up, sir. Tell me your name.
My name's Mike Howard.
How long have you been working for the plaintiff?
Oh, probably since about '02.
You familiar with this unit?
Yes.
When did you go out to the unit?
The day after, the Monday.
Tell me what you found when you went out there on the 18th of July.
The water from the sprinklers had went over the foundation and entered the home.
That's a lie, Your Honor.
Where had it entered the home?
It had came up over the foundation and ran into the area that was wet.
Carpeting wet?
Yes.
Around the baseboards?
Yes.
Did you find anything else wrong with the house?
The bathtub had about, I'd say about 1.5 inches of water in it that just wouldn't drain.
So the water that was standing in the tub was water that had been standing there because of a clogged drain?
Correct.
What did you use to clean out the drain?
Snake.
How much did you charge the plaintiff to do the whole job?
$2,500.
What did you charge her the $2,500 for?
We dug a place approximately 2 foot wide around the perimeter of the home. It was 90 foot long, and we poured concrete in there.
And what was that supposed to do?
It stopped the water from entering the home at the foundation.
You mean from the sprinkler system?
It was just a hose, but yeah.
What was the estimate that the defendant gave you to fix the problem?
The defendant told me it would be $45,000 for him to come in and dig out the entire concrete floor, and that my tenants would have to evacuate the premises. And the problem was that nobody had actually done any tests. The defendant never actually did any tests. All they did was walk the perimeter of the property. And actually, he didn't even do that. He had someone else do that. And came to the conclusion that it would be $45,000, that I needed to call my insurance company and make sure that I had him there, because the insurance company might not believe me, and that all three of us could meet and he could convince them that this is what needed to be done and get them to pay for it.
Now, after you decided not to hire him and you decided to hire Mr. Howard?
Correct.
Tell me what you claim he did to harass you and your tenants.
Well, on that Monday, when he had gone out and he had started working on it, when I came back that night, I had received numerous calls from Terry James, and I had 2 messages from Tony Chance. The first one said, I tried to run your credit card for the $69 service charge, and either you gave me the wrong number or I wrote it down wrong, and you really need to give me a call as soon as possible, otherwise we're going to have problems. The second message I got said that, I still haven't heard from you. You must be avoiding me. And by the way, I happened to go out to the property today, and I saw that you had some repairs going on there. And I just want to let you know that that was a really bad move on your part, and that now I'm going to have to contact the Sacramento Housing Authority and let them know what's going on over there. I'm going to put a full written report together to turn you in. And so to me, it was obviously, he was vindictive. I couldn't believe the message that I got. I was completely freaked out, and Terry said that he had been by there.
Don't.
Okay.
Step up. You can sit down. Did Mr. Chance come back to the house?
Yes, he came back on Monday.
He spoke to you?
Yes, he did.
What did he say to you?
Oh, my God. What is this? You mean to tell me they put concrete around the house? The sewage problem is not done. The pipes is busted. You guys are going to die. You guys need to get out right now. You guys should vacate the place. You guys mean to tell me you're not out of there? And then he came back on Tuesday and scared my son. Had my son all upset, talking about we should have been out of there, we gonna die, we go to sleep, we gonna die, we should have been moved out of there.
Okay. Since July 18th or 19th, have you had any other problems in your home?
No, I haven't.
Any other water?
Nothing's wrong.
Are you friendly with the other tenants?
Yes, I am. Very friendly.
Anybody else have any water problems that you know of?
Nobody has any problems on the property.
I guess you were wrong.
I don't think so, Your Honor.
I guess you were wrong.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
So I'm asking you, what tests did you personally do? Make sure you give me an answer that I'm going to be comfortable with, Mr. Chance.
And later today.
And it never dawned on you to take the rest of the money and give it back to them.
They didn't ask for it back.
Insurance isn't supposed to make you rich, madam.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Landlord Suzanne Brown says plumber Anthony Chance harassed her and her tenants after she refused his professional services.
Did you write a report to any housing authority with regard to what you found?
No, I did not.
Ms. Brown says that that's what you threatened to do. Is that what you threatened to do, Mr. Chance?
I never threatened to do anything.
Did you indicate that that's what you were going to do?
No, I did not.
What did you say?
I said specifically that I had already called the health department due to the fact that there was still a dangerous issue out at her property.
When had you called the health department?
I called them Monday night when I drove by the property and saw that concrete had been poured over the top of the sewage on the outside of the building.
Mr. Chance, but you were wrong, sir, because we've had 5 months since you were there, and no problem.
They've taken care of the symptoms, but the problem still exists. And the problem with the property that they have there is the drains underneath the footing were leaking substantially and had been that way for a long time.
What tests did you do, specifically, what tests did you do on the 17th when you were there to test that?
I've got phone records with me showing that I was on my phone with my service tech who was on the job.
What tests did you do? Not your technician. If you call the health department, I would say that you don't rely on a technician. You go out there yourself before you make the call.
I did.
The very next day. So I'm asking you, what tests did you personally do? Make sure you give me an answer that I'm going to be comfortable with, Mr. Chance.
I personally didn't do any tests.
That's what I thought. Now, did you ever give Miss Brown a quote of $45,000 to fix the problem?
No, I did not, Your Honor.
Did you ever say to Miss Brown that she should contact her insurance company?
I may have mentioned that, yes.
And that you should be there when the insurance company adjuster comes to look at the problem?
I advised her that that would be a good idea.
And are you telling me that you didn't give her a ballpark figure about what the problem would cost to rectify?
No, I didn't, Your Honor. I told her we needed to do tests to determine where the problem was at.
Oh, so if you're telling her you needed to do tests to determine where the problem was, why did you call the health department?
Well, we knew that there was a problem. We didn't know which bathroom was leaking or where the problem was at underneath the slab because the whole area underneath the house was saturated with sewage.
What made you think, sir, that the whole area under the house was saturated with sewage?
Because my technician went into the other unit, the back unit, and ran a sink for 20 minutes, and the water proceeded to come up in the carpets in the front bedroom of the front unit, which indicates a backed up sewer main.
And you think that that just happened once, sir?
I went by the job on Sunday night.
Yeah?
Because Suzanne had agreed to meet me there Sunday night.
Yeah?
And I was sitting in front of the property. I did not go in either of the units, but I saw the sewage around the perimeter of the building. I sat there for maybe 5 minutes, and then Suzanne called me and said, "I'm sorry, but something's come up. I can't meet you. I'll have to do it on Monday." So I left the property, but at that point, I was able to witness the wet sewage all the way around the outside footing, and it definitely was
What made you think it was wet sewage, sir?
Based on the description that my technician gave me while he was in the home.
Mr. Chance, you want to know what I think, sir?
What?
I'm going to tell you what I think. I think that you were really annoyed with Miss Brown because she decided not to use you to fix this major problem and did you out of a really expensive job. Because he came out and said he ran a snake in the tub, the water went down, and she's had no more problems. 5 months later, your technician came out and did zippo. Nothing. Left the standing water in the bathtub and did nothing. What you did was you decided this was a big job. The entire foundation of this house had to be ripped up. Call your insurance company and let them know. All has to be redone. And then somebody else came and did it, and you were annoyed. And you didn't call the health department until after you were advised that she had gotten somebody else to fix what she perceived to be the problem or what she was told by a professional was the problem. That's vindictive, sir. What else?
I actually ended up filing a police report against him because I became scared. It's like he turned into this psycho plumber. And
he was just annoyed. It was a $45,000 job that went out the window because you got somebody with a snake to fix the problem.
Judy, could I have some evidence?
My friends call me by my first name. Now, what I don't understand, Mr. Chance, is I absolutely believe Mr. Howard when he says he went to the premises the next day, took a snake, put it in the bathtub, snaked out the bathtub, the water went down, and I absolutely believe Miss Jones when she says she has not had a problem since. What I don't understand is how come your technician went into the house, saw standing water, and didn't take a snake to try to get it to go down, yet went into another unit, a unit that they had not called to complain about, let the water run in that unit to come up with the story, instead of doing the first thing that I would do as a plumber and say, gee, I see this standing water. Let me see if I can get it to go down. Do you understand what I'm saying to you, Mr. Chance?
I understand.
Very good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,500. That's all. You did the wrong thing. It's going to cost you.
Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It was a lie. The whole thing about the health department, he never called anybody because he knew he'd never done any tests.
I think that they tried to hide the real problem so that the health department wouldn't come out and create any problems with having to really repair the broken pipes underneath the slab.
I had spent $2,500 having the problem fixed. Obviously, I'm not a slumlord.
I'm positive that's what the problem was because that's what I saw.
I'm just happy, very, very happy. Justice does we serve.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Freshley versus Velasquez. Step forward.
22-year-old Amy Freshley is suing former friend Herman Velasquez for rental car charges and for damages to the vehicle. Herman claims he owes Amy nothing.
Miss Freshley, you had an automobile accident.
Yes.
You knew the defendant, who was a mechanic, and you entered into an agreement with him that he would fix your car.
Right.
And according to you, your agreement was that the car would be ready in a week or 5 days. If it went over that, he was going to compensate you for the rental car.
Exactly.
Now, the car wasn't ready on time. He was supposed to pay for the additional days.
Right.
In addition to that, it is your claim that he took the rental car.
Exactly.
Which, for some reason, you left at his shop, drove it, and caused damage to it, and you were being charged by Enterprise Rental Car for the damage that you ascribed to him.
Exactly.
Okay. The car you were in an accident with was a 95 Tahoe?
Yes.
Is that your car?
Yes.
Alone?
Me and my boyfriend's car.
Who purchased it?
We both did.
You have insurance?
Yes.
Did the insurance pay for the accident?
Yes.
How much?
$4,045.
Who did they pay that to?
Paid it to me and my boyfriend.
Did you take the money?
I took the money and paid Herman $2,800.
They paid you $4,000 for something that he fixed for $2,800?
Yep.
And it never dawned on you to take the rest of the money and give it back to them?
They didn't ask for it back. They said they wouldn't pay for the rental, so I figured I'd use also some of that for a rental because I wouldn't have a car for a week.
Okay. So let us say he took the car, which you acknowledge. He took the car.
Yeah.
Don't acknowledge that you had an accident with it or that you damaged it.
No.
But you acknowledge you took it.
Yeah.
So let's say $2,800 is what he charged you for the car.
Yes.
Plus you say that he should be responsible for another $340 for the additional days that the car was rented when he didn't have it fixed on time.
Yes.
Right? Plus $340. Plus $701 for damage to the car.
Yes.
That's $3,841. Did you have any other expenses by virtue of this accident that you had?
No.
Well, my calculations are that you're still ahead $200 from what you scammed out of the insurance company. You expect me to give you more money? What are you looking at me? Am I speaking some sort of a foreign language?
No, I just expected to be paid for a car that I rented, and he said he'd pay for the extra week.
You didn't pay for the extra week. Your insurance company did. Think of it this way. On what date did you have the accident? March 29th?
Yes.
March 29th. On March 29th, you started off with a car that was in good running order.
Yes.
Right? And zero in the bank. On April 15th, you had $4,045 in the bank from the insurance company.
Yes.
2 weeks later, you had your car back. You had rented a car, and you still have an extra $200 in your bank. Now, what you want me to do is give you the extra $200, plus you want him to pay you $1,100.
Yes, I would.
That means that at the end of this accident, you have your car
and an
extra $1,300. Insurance isn't supposed to make you rich, madam. It is supposed to compensate you for your damage.
But that wasn't the deal when I had rented.
The deal that you entered into with your insurance company is to be an honest insured. I'm speaking. The deal that you entered into with your insurance company is that if you had an accident, they were going to compensate you for the reasonable cost of having your car fixed. And the reasonable cost of you having your car fixed was $2,800.
That's because he told me that's how much it was going to cost.
So why didn't you tell that to the insurance company?
I did. He actually wrote up something higher than what he was going to charge me.
And did you tell the insurance company that he did that? Let me tell you all about the doctrine of clean hands. The doctrine of clean hands is something that we learned very early on in law school. It says that when a citizen comes into court and asks the court to hear their case, they can't come in with dirty hands, which means they can't come in being wrong, scamming somebody and saying, well, he's a worse scammer than I am. Why won't you help me? What he did was worse. I had a deal with him. We had a deal that he was going to jack up the cost of fixing the car. He was going to have the adjuster come to his place and say it needs this and this and this and this and this. And he was going to get $2,800 to fix it, and I was going to end up pocketing the rest, which was $1,000 or whatever. And the only one that was going to be out is the insurance company, and they got plenty of money anyway.
Why?
So, madam, you get from me nothing. Zippo, nada, except a lesson in morality. Your case is dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may...
20-year-old Monica Ruff is suing her former friend, 21-year-old Justin Judy, for damaging her car when he backed into another vehicle.
Order. All rise. That's case number 265 on the calendar in the matter of Roth versus Judy.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Ms. Roth, it is your claim that you were at a party, the defendant was at a party, he moved your car, he did so without asking you, and he dented it. The defendant says that it was you who were drunk, moved your own car, and dented it yourself. That's your defense, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Was this party at your house?
Yes, it was, ma'am.
How many people did you have at the party?
20, 25.
How old are you?
I'm 20, going on 22, 21 right now.
Well, hopefully, if I let you, you'll be 22. Right now, you're 21. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Who do you live with?
I live with my witness here and another person.
So you have two roommates?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm in construction.
What night of the week was this?
July 9th. I think it was a Friday night or, yeah, Friday night.
Okay. And did you know Miss Roth before your party?
Yes, I did.
All right, Miss Roth, were you present when the defendant got into your car?
No, I was not. I was inside.
Who was?
My witness, Tita, was in the car.
Tell me your name.
Tita Chewin.
Miss Chewin, did you know the defendant prior to this evening?
Yes, Your Honor.
Was there drinking at the party?
Yes.
Any drugs at the party?
No.
None that you saw?
Not that I saw.
But drinking?
Yes.
All right, tell me what happened with the car.
We went outside to...
Who's we?
The three of us. We went outside to grab CDs, and it was a summer night, so we had tank tops on and skirts, and we wanted to grab shirts to put over. So we went out to the car. She grabbed her CDs. I grabbed my shirt. I put it on. She went back inside the house, and she left the keys for me. So I was in the passenger seat getting ready to leave, and he claims the truck in front of him needed to be moved. So he hopped in, and I told him, Monica.
Okay. He said that the car that you were in had to be moved?
Yes.
Okay.
The car was on accessories, but the engine wasn't on. He started it and...
Don't speak.
He started it and slammed on the gas without even looking behind him. And before he started the car, I told him, Monica would not want you driving her car. It's brand new. She doesn't even let us drive her car. I've known her since elementary school. We're really close. And he just slammed on the gas without even looking behind him. And I told him, don't you want to look behind you? And next thing I know, there's a big crash. And he jumps out of the car.
Did he say anything to you?
No, he just jumped out.
Did he put the car in park and jump out? Did he turn it off?
He pulled it up really quick so she wouldn't know, and then jumped out of the car.
So first he went backwards.
Yep, and then he pulled it up.
So he changed gears.
Yes.
I just want you to go step by step with me. So let's go step by step. First, it was in reverse.
Yep, and he slammed on the gas, hit the car, was like startled, and then he pulled it up back to where she had been parked, so it looked like her car wasn't moved, and hopped out of the car really quick.
And didn't say anything to you?
No.
So what did you do?
I was in shock, and then she came in, ran up to the window because she was across the street.
Tell me your name.
Keely Hartman.
Ms. Hartman, did you witness this?
I just heard a crash. I didn't see it actually happen.
But you heard the sound?
I heard the sound.
Did you see the defendant?
I saw someone running away from the car, and that's when I ran over immediately because I saw it was Monica's car.
But you didn't see who it was?
I didn't.
Didn't see a face, or you didn't see whether it was a man, woman?
I saw a shadow running from the car.
Okay. Did the defendant say anything to you when you went back inside?
I peeked inside the window of the driver's side door, and I saw her in the passenger seat, and I looked and I saw nobody in the driver's seat, and I go, where's Monica? And Tita said she's in the house. That's when I looked over and I saw Justin crouching over by the bumper, and he said to me, don't tell her it's not a big deal, it's not even noticeable. And that's when I ran inside and grabbed Monica.
Okay, so he said to you, don't tell her it's not a big deal, it's not even noticeable.
Yes.
How long have you known the defendant?
A couple years.
Have had any problem with him?
No.
You like him?
Do I like him?
Yeah, I mean, like him as a person. He's okay, isn't he?
Yeah.
What about you?
Before this incident, I thought he was great.
Thought he was great. Never had any problem with him. Thank you. You can be seated.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's your turn. Did you get a turn?
All those girls are lying.
Listen to me. Listen to me very, very carefully, sir. I make a judgment as to who's lying.
Okay.
You have the opportunity, if you wish, to explain to me your version of the events that evening.
Okay.
I assume you brought this gentleman because he has something to contribute to this case.
Yes, I did, ma'am.
Your name is?
James.
James, you have a last name.
Johnson.
How old are you?
22.
Do you have parents?
Yes.
Do they like you?
Sometimes.
I want you to think about them when making a decision to testify, James.
Yes.
Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes.
Okay. Let me hear.
Okay, in my defense. July 9th, we were having a party at my house. These girls showed up to my house intoxicated, had parked her car behind a truck of my friends, asked her to move it. She moved it, backed into the car that was behind her, which was the black one.
And you saw all this?
Yeah, I was out in the street telling everybody was about ready to leave. The whole part, you know.
And you
like,
saw all of this?
Yeah, I saw the whole thing.
Go ahead.
I was in the street talking to a bunch of friends, and you know, that happened, that transpired. And then she decided to leave belligerently, circle the block, and then come back, screaming, raving, whatever. She was intoxicated and all that stuff.
So you had a party at your house. Did you serve alcohol,
No,
or did the
not to
people
them.
bring out? Shh. Did you serve alcohol, or did the people bring alcohol?
They brought their own.
You just provided the site.
Yes, I just presided the area for people to party. But everybody at my house was 21, minus these 3 girls.
You mean I just happened to be fortunate enough to pick the 3 girls who were underage at your house?
Yes, ma'am. But they were intoxicated before they showed up to my house.
You want to speak?
Sure.
Who do you live with?
Justin, Judy, and another roommate.
So you lived together. And how long have you lived together?
For about a year and a half.
You know these 3 girls?
I know them from being at my house that night. I'd never even known them before.
What time did the party start?
Between 9 and 10 o'clock.
When did you start drinking?
Between 9 and 10 o'clock.
What were you drinking?
Beer.
What time did these girls arrive?
I'm not totally sure on that. I actually did not see them arrive. I didn't see them arrive. I didn't know they were there until well after they were there.
And what time was that?
Between 10 and 11 o'clock.
So the party was only going on for an hour?
Possibly.
What do you mean possibly?
I'm not sure. It was.
How many beers did you have between 9 and 10 o'clock?
Couple.
Couple could be 2 or 5.
Between 2 and 5.
What kind of work do you do?
Construction.
You work for the same place?
No. I install windows in residential housing. He seals driveways.
Seals them. Doesn't steal them. He seals them.
Yes.
So now, I want you to tell me what you saw.
Okay, I was...
No!
Sorry. I was at the party, and I was walking out.
What time?
It was late. I don't know.
Give me an idea.
Probably between 12 and 1.
Okay, so between 12 and 1. So let's say between 9 and 10 you had between 2 and 5 beers.
Yes.
And I would assume that once you had between 2 and 5, you lost track.
Nah, I didn't finish my 12-pack.
How much was left over?
2 or 3.
So maybe you had 10 beers.
Yeah, probably.
So now tell me what happened after midnight.
Well, after I came outside, I had seen Monica get in the car, back up, and bump into the other car. And it wasn't that big of an accident, so nobody really made a big deal out of it. And I seen her get out of the car, have a little conversation with him, and then I seen her get back in the car and drive away. It didn't happen all that quick, but that's the sum of it. Yes.
You may be seated.
Thank you.
Don't you feel like a jerk?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I have phone calls from Justin saying he will pay me.
Before you do that, before we connect, you want to say anything else to me, Justin?
And later today.
When did you take this money?
A couple weeks before I was leaving for Florida.
I don't know when you were leaving for Florida, sir. It wasn't on my social calendar. What's the matter? They're too nasty for you?
No, that was delightful.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Monica Roth says former friend Justin Judy backed her car into another vehicle. Justin claims it was a drunken Monica who was behind the wheel.
Let me see the estimate on the car, please. And picture of the car?
Yep.
What kind of a car did he hit?
Cougar. It was a black car, that's all.
Cougar?
I'm pretty sure it was a Mercury Cougar.
You know who it belonged to?
It was this kid, Jeremy, and he didn't even tell him that he hit his car.
But did you tell him?
he came out, and I think Keely or someone told him. I wasn't.
Who told the cougar that his car got hit? Anybody?
I didn't. Well,
Nobody told me.
Shh.
I don't think I didn't tell him. He heard from the people inside that someone's car had been hit, so he ran outside and saw that it was his car and was furious with Justin.
Is the cougar man a friend of yours?
Yes, he's a very good friend of mine, actually.
How come he's not here?
He's
How come he's not here?
working.
Is he overseas? Is he fighting in the military?
He couldn't
Huh?
make it.
Couldn't make it.
No.
Too bad for you. He's a very good friend of yours. Seemed to me a very good friend. Instead of bringing this one over here, I certainly would have brought the person whose car... I'm speaking. I would have brought the person whose car was hit to testify that they know that it wasn't you who hit their car, it was somebody else who hit their car. Put your hand down.
He's the only one that saw it, though. The guy who owned the car did not see
You see how
anything.
many witnesses they have here, too? You see what you have on your side? Stop shaking your foot. It's making me nervous.
The guy whose car that she hit was not around and did not see it, did not know it happened until later in the night.
Your Honor, I have phone calls from Justin saying he will pay me the money and that he's so sorry that he did it, and he is doing everything he can to get me my money, and he just wants to pay cash, and he doesn't want to go to court.
You have them here?
Yes, I have.
Oh, I'd like to
I can
hear
call
that.
my voicemail.
Oh,
Should I go
sure,
up
I'd like
there?
to hear that.
You can- yeah, please. It's her phone. She's gonna. There's two of them.
Ooh, I love to be right.
You've pressed an incorrect key. To disconnect, press 1. To record your message, press 2. Sorry you were having trouble. Please try again.
It's okay.
Can I try one more time?
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
I have all the time in the world.
Sorry.
Oh, just a sec. Before you do that, shh, before you do that, before we connect, you want to say anything else to me, Justin?
Like what?
Like I may have made that
I did that to help her out because it was on my property.
I'm speaking. Is there anything else that you want to say to me before we try to connect with this phone call?
I've said what I've had to say.
All right.
You've got my defense statement, so I'm sticking with that. That's what it is.
Go.
First saved message sent Friday, August 20 a.m.
Monica, it's Justin. I got your text message. I'm not trying to avoid you. I've been busy working a lot. We're really busy right now. Plus, I have another job. I'm trying to work as much as possible to get you your money. I do want to work something out. I don't want to take this shit to court. I'm not trying to avoid you. So, I don't know. I got to work till midnight tonight. Give me a call whenever.
End of.
I have one more.
Resave. Next message sent Friday, August 5th at 9:11 p.m.
Monica, I'm calling you again because I'm trying to set up some sort of payment plan with you because I've been working a lot. I have 2 jobs. Yeah, so call me back and let me know what's up. I don't want to take the court. I'd rather pay you in cash and get it dealt with. Call me back.
End of.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $967.53. That is for the repair on the car, damage to the vehicle. If I could add another couple of thousand to that for just being 2 wise guys, I would. You're an embarrassment, and you're an embarrassment to yourself and your parents. That's all.
How does that excuse? You may step out.
Wow. They were drunk. I mean, drunk girls is what it was, man. That's how they were.
He called us and said he had liquor for us at his house.
I never thought it would come to this, but whatever.
I can't believe he lied.
I'm an embarrassment.
I thought he was a friend, but I really know who my true friends are.
86 for life, meaning they're not allowed to ever step foot anywhere near my house again.
I'm so glad he won't let us back at his house because I would never step foot there again.
And now the next case. 20-year-old Ashley Coggins is suing her ex-boyfriend, 20-year-old Daniel Piper, for a loan to buy a 1990 Mustang. Daniel says Ashley broke their apartment lease, so he doesn't owe for the car.
All rise. Now, this is case number 199 on the calendar in the matter of Coggins versus Piper. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Ms. Coggins, according to the complaint that I read, you and Mr. Piper lived together for a period of time.
Yes.
And you took out a loan.
Yes.
And the loan was to be primarily used for a car for you. What kind of a car did you buy?
1990 Mustang.
How much did you pay for it?
$3,200.
How much of a loan did you give him?
$4,500.
What'd you do with the rest?
Well, she got a portion of the money, approximately $300 to $400, and the rest of the money I used to plate the car and insure the car.
And then shortly after the loan, the two of you broke up.
Yes.
He made some payments on the loan and then stopped.
Yes.
You want him to pay the loan?
Yes.
Mr. Piper says that he was forced to sell the car, stop making the payments because you moved out of the apartment, leaving him with the lease and the bills, and he couldn't do everything, so he stopped making the car payments.
Well, I paid some payments. I did not.
How many payments did you make?
I believe 4.
And in what amount?
122 and some change.
Does that sound right?
I believe he made 4, but only $55 have been made since the payments were always late, and they were adding the interest and the payments were always late. He's only actually paid $55 on the loan.
Can I see your last statement, please?
Yes.
So I can look at it. Well, the balance is 4,445.20, but some of this is yours.
Right.
Well, let's say there's $4,000 left on the loan. Now, did you both sign a lease for this apartment?
Yes.
When did you sign the lease?
March of 2004.
And when did you move out?
I moved out July of 04.
Are you still in the apartment?
Yes.
What was the rent on the apartment?
$735 a month.
And what was your financial arrangement with regard to the rent?
I was supposed to pay all of the bills, the electric and the cable and the cell phone bills, and him and his brother were supposed to pay the rent. They were supposed to split it.
3 of you living there?
Yes.
Is that right?
My brother did move in, but we were not splitting the rent. That wasn't the agreement.
Yes, it was.
Shh. Why not?
Due to the fact my brother had just got back from the Navy, he was in a tight spot, he needed a place to live. I let him move in with us under the agreement that he would pay $200 a month.
Is he paying $200 a month?
Yes.
Then you're almost whole, sir. If the rent is $735, let him pay half the rent. He's not in a bind anymore.
I understand, but he's
Right.
also not on the lease.
I don't care whether he's on the lease or not. He's living there.
Yes.
I mean, your defense to this whole action with regard to the car is that she left you with the lease, which I would take into consideration, except for the fact that you moved your brother into the apartment and he can pay half the rent. I mean, he's a big boy.
Yeah, but what was I supposed to do when she left the lease, didn't have somebody else move in?
Listen to me very carefully.
Okay.
When you moved into the apartment together,
Mm-hmm.
the two of you, in March of '04, did your brother move in with you?
Yes.
At the same time?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
With no agreement that he was to pay at least a third of the rent?
No. The agreement was $200.
Well, you better change the agreement, sir. Circumstances change. He's living there with you. Now, put your hand down. You sold the car.
Correct.
Who did you sell it to?
Kid named John.
Did you put a sign in the window?
No, I didn't.
Well, how did you sell it?
The kid came to my mother's house where the car was parked in the backyard. He had them get a hold of me because he wanted to purchase the car.
You mean it was like a Karnak? He said, oh, this must be a car that's for sale?
Well, the person that I bought the car from was friends with this kid. He was looking for that kind of car, so he came to me.
How much did he pay for the car?
How much did he pay for it?
That's my question, sir. It doesn't give you an opportunity to think about an answer.
I just
you should
didn't
know
hear
that.
you.
You should know that like that.
Yes,
Don't play with me.
He paid $1,100 for the car.
Why didn't you give that $1,100 to her?
Why would I give it to her?
Well, who's supposed to pay this loan?
Me.
But you haven't been doing that.
At that time, I was still paying the payment.
But then you stopped.
Correct.
So why didn't you give her the $1,100?
Because I was paying the loan at the time. It was.
But
up to
then you
date.
stopped.
The $1,100 by that point was gone. I mean, the situation I was in, I didn't
Who is this?
have. This is my girlfriend.
What is she here for?
Because she's been the one dealing with Ashley during this whole thing.
Why is she dealing with Ashley?
Because I
Because he
repeatedly.
refused to talk to me.
I repeatedly asked her not to call me. If she needed to get a hold of me, I asked her to ask her mother to call me,
No,
to email me,
that's not true.
or
Oh,
to have.
I don't want to hear you unless I ask you a question.
I repeatedly asked
I'm
her
getting
not to call me.
frustrated with you, Mr. Piper.
Okay.
I'm getting frustrated with you, Mr. Piper. Somebody takes out a loan for you. You promise to pay them. You stop paying them. You sell the only equity that exists, which is your car.
Well, to tell you the truth, the car wasn't part of the loan.
Well, what was the loan for?
I'm saying there was no, that wasn't collateral on the loan or anything like that. Okay, this loan was just a personal loan. It wasn't a car loan.
I understand what it was, sir.
Okay.
She took out the loan to enable you to spend $3,200 plus tags and fees to buy a car.
Correct.
Of course I'm correct. You think you're smarter than I am?
No, ma'am.
On your smartest day. You're not as smart as I am on my worst day.
Okay.
What do you want?
I was wondering if I could say something.
Of course. I haven't had lunch.
Well, Danny was with Ashley throughout their whole high school career.
I don't give a, listen to me.
I
listen to me
understand that.
carefully. I don't give a rat's behind whether they were soulmates in utero.
Okay.
He took money from her.
I understand
Listen,
that.
try to be quiet and watch my mouth. He took money from her to buy a car. He stopped making payments on the car. He stopped making payments to her for the loan that she took out to enable him to buy a car. And then he has the gall to sell the car and not give her the proceeds.
She lived with Danny, was very unsatisfied with whatever Danny did. Left, did not pay any rent, didn't pay anything, asked him, oh, she is always in contact. Did you pay the rent? Did you pay this? Did you pay that? If you walked out, you are supposed to find someone to take your place. She did not do that. She left Danny with everything. Left him with the rent, the utilities. He had shut-off notices.
Listen to me.
A roof over your head is more important than a loan payment
When
that
my
she
mouth
should have never...
starts to move, yours is not moving. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He has no right not to pay his debts. And if you are making excuses for him,
I'm not.
Good, then you deserve each other.
And later today,
Why didn't you have it out when you were supposed to?
I hadn't realized how much stuff I had accumulated. I didn't realize how long
You
it would
mean
take.
it just came up and bit you on the behind?
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Ashley Coggins says she loaned money to ex-boyfriend Daniel Piper so he could buy a 1990 Mustang. Ashley says Daniel has never paid her back.
Danny has a brother, a big, strong guy who served his country, who came back, and who now has a roof over his head, cable, gas, electric, rent. And these two boys have to manage to pay $735 rent. And they can get that by collecting cans if they need more money. His brother, if he is trying to find a job, can go and work in a fast food place for minimum wage. You can make $350 a month doing that. He has no right not to pay his debts. And if you are making excuses for him,
I'm not.
Good, then you deserve each other. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $4,000. That's all. Step out.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
After he asked her numerous times, don't call, I took the initiative to make the decision with her that me and her would communicate.
Well, I was calling him. The loan was in my name, and the bank was contacting me at work.
I couldn't handle it anymore. I mean, too many phone calls is too many phone calls.
He doesn't want to take care of his responsibilities. He just wants to let everybody else handle everything.
And now the next case.
divine. Sweet.